Meters
you
is
really
not,
loud.
yeah, meters is not working right now.
Okay.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
You're good as far as I'm concerned. The mic is hot.
My mic is hot.
No,
Indeed. Hi, Tony.
Mike's mic is hot.
I'm sorry, Ray. What did you say?
I said, hi, Tony.
Hi, Ray. Hi, everybody.
Hey, all.
Hi, Tony. I feel you've just moved rooms because I was watching your show from yesterday just before the Zoom test kitchen started. So you sort of moved from one instance to another. The talk with Roscoe. Yeah. Very nice.
Well, thank
Very
you.
good.
That was an easy conversation. We've had a great relationship over the last 5 years of meeting in office hours and continuing to interact.
Hey, Andy. Maybe afternoon for you, but it's late evening for me.
All right. For those of you in the afternoon, happy afternoon. Other times, happy whatever time you're all at.
Hey, Peter.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Oops. Whoever said that.
It's that guy Franklin.
Okay.
Character.
Please play my favorite music as we start the event this evening.
David, have you got that ready? Or you want me to do it?
Do I have what ready?
The music.
It's playing.
Don't hear it.
No, it's
What?
not. Nope.
I've been sitting here listening to the music myself this whole time.
Yep.
That's kind of embarrassing. Hold on a second. Studio, it's playing the music. Huh. It looks like it's coming through. Oh, you know what?
It's that Kazinta.
Do you hear it now?
Nope.
It's really strange.
We
Huh.
can all hum it. We've all heard it. 2, 3, 4. Oh. It's what they call on Saturday Night Live a cold opening.
How cold is it?
Oh, gosh, it's going to be 80
This is
something.
really weird that you couldn't hear that. Huh. I think my computer needs a restart, if I had to guess, because I actually had this problem last night too, where people couldn't hear the audio. Oh well. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we
David.
didn't get to hear the music.
That's okay. You can sing
that
it
makes
for
me a
us.
little sad. I don't want to waste everyone's time with it now, though. All right, I'm not gonna troubleshoot this now. I apologize that I listened to the entire song all by myself, and it was glorious. Hi, everyone. Hey, Robert.
How did it go, David? How did it go?
I'm pretty sure it was Robert's fault. We can't hear you, Robert. Or is that just me?
Oh, is that you can't hear me at all?
Oh,
We
no,
hear
can
you just fine.
You can
We
hear
hear
him?
you. Yep.
I can't hear anyone. What is going on?
We can hear you, David.
Wait, I could hear all of you during the thing. Hold on a second. Wait a second.
Mike,
Seriously,
these
I
are the
can't
things
hear
we were
anyone.
talking
All right,
about,
someone
and the
else take
client
over.
says it's
I'm
not
gonna
going to
be quiet.
happen during the show, is it?
John, you need to
Jacqueline.
unmute your microphone that we can hear you play the song on your keyboard. Is that a keyboard or a piano?
Now we can't hear you.
Johnny, you're not up anymore now.
So who can we hear at the end of the day?
I bet you can hear me. I bet you can hear me.
Hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Peter's
I'm just
good,
watching
Ray's
the
good.
meters. I'm just watching the
No, you
meter.
can't hear me.
Yeah,
No,
we got you
can't-
now, John.
I'm keeping it all to myself.
Well said, John.
Anyone remember the words?
I can pull him up.
Zoom
I've
test
got them
kitchen
some-
crew. We're gonna hum the tune as we wait for David to come back. And guaranteed he's probably redoing that Mac or rebooting that Mac, I should say. And hopefully Ecamm will be nice to him when he comes back. And Muddy's on the road. I see Muddy in his.
He's
Are you
on
live in the production truck? That's the question.
Well, or is he just at the charging station just to charge his vehicle?
Yeah. I see a Tesla out the window. Dead giveaway.
That's
Not talking
cool.
vehicle either. Testing Tesla charger.
I could do it from my
Oh,
test.
mate, that's a great idea. Go to a charging station and run your OB truck from the charging station. Free electricity. Cool.
Yeah, as long as you got good 5G from there, you can broadcast anytime. Oh, even Muddy's even 5G is good there, Muddy. He's nodding. I'm going to assume yes. Oh, thumbs up for Muddy. So he's got good 5G in the Tesla parking lot. Now, are you getting Wi-Fi from the Tesla charger? No,
No,
no, not that nice. They're not that nice. I got it.
are you in Oklahoma? What spot are you in, Muddy? And do you recommend that one?
Oh, Muddy's playing with his video input.
There we
and-
go. If I can get to the mute button. No, I'm in Whitville, Virginia, on the way from Raleigh out to Tennessee for a volleyball tournament. So, no, it's a supercharger, so that's good.
Yep.
But it is in the back of a hotel with no other services nearby. So, as far as Tesla supercharger locations go, not the best we've been to.
All right, back to you, David. Test.
No, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Crazy. I apologize. No, you keep going. I'm still getting everything reset up. I restarted everything. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right. I guess we're still going around the horn. So Muddy said hi. I said hi. Hi, everybody on YouTube. I'll be your YouTube person to relay any questions that you might have to the group here. And Robert said hi. Tony, I think you said hi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
There we go. All right. And over to you, Peter.
Hello, everyone from Central Texas.
All righty. Into my cohort Canuck and crime, Mr. Frank.
Good day, sir.
How are things?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad.
Carry on.
Are you surviving after yesterday's game?
Yeah, we're coping.
Attaboy.
Today's game.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Go ahead, David. You good
Oh,
now?
hi. I'm back.
David, do you know that a third of your screen is covered up by text?
Yes, I do. Because Robert decided to put all the lyrics to the song in the chat. And so, yes, I could turn it off, but I was trying to.
I thought you were going to sing it for us,
No,
David, and
the
someone
Zoom
said you don't
graphic.
have the lyrics.
No, I have it up here only because it's the Zoom graphics toolkit. That's what I have up there.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that's the chat scroll feature of that. I wasn't really paying attention, so I don't know where we left off. So I'm just going to say hi. and let's get started. Although I have to say, I got an email today that Zoom had updated their release notes, and I got all excited. And then I clicked through, and there's nothing there. Maybe there was, but there's no way to find what they've changed. Is there, or am I wrong about there? Is there a way to find? No. So I
Not unless you use Ray's method.
Yeah. And I have no idea what they changed.
I got release notes that were updated from 2 months ago. An alert today. I'm like,
Really?
why do I care about? Anyways, yeah.
Funny. I wonder if I didn't look carefully. I just click on the link. I wonder if that's what mine was also.
David, can't AI the companion figure out what's new?
I don't know the task. All right, let's see. Review the latest release notes and tell me what is new.
That seems too vague.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
You
thing.
need to say meeting release notes.
Found it. No, it found it.
But did it compare and contrast from one date to another date?
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. So it says Zoom Workplace episode April 16th, 2025. Based on the search results, here are the latest release notes from Zoom's various products. But okay, it actually missed this last one, the 21st. So compare. Well, but see, here's the problem, Frank. I'm not comparing 21st to 16th. What I want to know is within the 21st or within the 16th, what has changed from time
That's
over.
what Ray does is he has, I don't know what application he's using, but he's comparing and contrasting the changes in the same document, and it highlights what has been modified.
Right.
But I think it's incumbent upon Zoom to put like some kind of footnotes or something that points out what the updates are.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, so I put leftovers as the title for this week because, I think we're there's nothing new to write home about. So I think we're just banging on Zoom and asking questions and figuring stuff out. But I don't know, Frank, do you know something?
No, well, I know some things I can't talk about, but did you ever try and digitize yourself in Zoom Clips and make an avatar of yourself?
I actually haven't. Let's do that. Is it fun?
I don't know. I don't have access to Clips.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's here we go. Oops. Hold on. Where am I? Oh, thanks. I was getting to that. Okay. So I use Zoom Clips all the time. Every time I have to submit a bug report, I use Zoom Clips to capture what happens. So usually I just click on record clip. It brings up the recording thing. You can choose what screen if you want to have your icon on here. Not your icon, sorry, your little pip, your lower third. But if we choose create with avatars, okay, here we go. Record a video of yourself to create a custom avatar. Okay, wait, I actually want to do this on this computer because this is where my good camera is. So let's do it over here. So clips, create with avatars, customize your clip. Okay, get started. Unable. All right, I'll just do it on the other computer. Sorry, I'm in a meeting, so it's not letting me do it. All right, here we go. All right, so what it did, it brought up. It's hard for me to look at. See, I can't show you. Okay, so it brought up this create your avatar. You will record a video of yourself performing some movements and talking. For the best results, face the camera. Make sure your face is in the frame and nothing is coming. You're all set. Go ahead and start recording. And what do I do?
Click continue.
What is it going to tell me what to do?
It tells you right below that paragraph tells you what to do.
No, I want to know what am I supposed to do when it's recording. By clicking continue, you agree that Zoom may analyze and store your facial. No, that doesn't tell me. I just want to know what am I recording? What am I? All right,
Usually it'll prompt. I don't know about this application, but many applications will prompt you, and you'll have to read some text so it can
and follow directions.
Unable to verify your movements. All right, hold on. I have to move this over here so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, continue. It says blink both eyes, turn face right and then back. Read the 4-digit 3697. Sorry, it gave me a number to. When you are ready, click to talk. When you're ready to talk, click continue. Okay. And now I think it just look at the camera and record yourself talking for at least 30 seconds. Talk about yourself, such as your favorite movie. So I'm now talking about myself, and I wish you could see this. Let me move this over here so you can see. I'm talking to myself, and I'm just talking, and recording myself. Of course, I'm not speaking into my microphone, so that's not going to look very good. And let's see, can I stop now? Okay, I'm talking. I'm still talking. Stop and preview. All right, so I got to stop and preview. Replay this clip. This will be used to create your avatar. Let's say, oops, sorry. Okay. You guys can hear that, right?
No.
What the heck? All right, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I clicked yes, and now it's queuing, and it is now making my thingamajigger.
Digital twin.
My digital twin. I'll have to do this on my main machine. That's I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna do this from now on. Generating 1%. All right. I'll let you know when this comes up. This is fun. I really need to figure out why you can't hear anything. It's really frustrating. I see it everywhere. It's coming through. Huh.
So once you have a digital avatar, you can put in a script, as I understand it, and it will synthesize your face and your voice, and you don't even have to be on camera.
All right, but let's get ourselves a little script here. Oh wait, no, you know what? Let's use. I was going to use OpenAI, but let's use. Here we go. Write me a short script.
There are a number of HR people that are using this to have a person that is the HR representative, and they can change the script as things change. And it's very handy. You don't have to re-record the whole thing.
Yeah. Best practices.
The last time you'll ever wear a suit.
Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to have AI write me a short little script to describe best practices for using Zoom. Here's a short script. All right, I'm just going to take unable to create your avatar due to security verification issues. Really?
David, you don't have to tell us what organization you are a part of, not in public anyway.
I wonder when it made you read the numbers, if that was like a security code and you didn't say it right or something.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know.
I don't know what this is or what's causing the problem, David, but I had a presentation this week from a guy in the States, in New York, who had a tool that for generating emails with these messages with your avatar. And the idea was to send people reminders that there's a meeting coming up. And if you have a sales meeting, for example, you could put in, hey, Frank, looking forward to the meeting this afternoon. Just let me know if there's anything that you need. And it's an avatar of me with that message that I've inputted in a text. And you can send these out. You can write all the texts out, define who they go out to, and bang, they go out on the day.
And then my digital avatar will respond to your digital avatar. We'll never speak in person again.
All right, I just tried to redo it by muting you guys, or not muting you, but so that I could actually just read what it said. And then I have the script here. So if it actually does it, I will put this in and we'll see what happens. And it says, unable to create your avatar because the code wasn't recognized. Read it out loud when you start recording. Maybe I wasn't being loud enough. Okay. I'll do this offline. Or I could just be this guy. I mean, come on. He looks pretty good, right? Here's my script. Create clip. Just have him do it.
Isn't there a limit on how many minutes of this you get a month?
I don't know.
I believe it was 3 minutes originally, if they haven't changed it.
3 minutes.
But there is an upgrade for those that want to have unlimited, and I think it's quite good value actually if you want unlimited.
But there are two versions of clips. There's clips plain, and then there's clips pro, isn't there? Right? If we go back here and we look at over here, you get clips plus, they call it, unlimited videos. Oh, here it is. Custom avatar, 3 minutes per month? That's ridiculous.
Of your avatar, yes. That's why I believe there's another level somewhere else.
That's I don't even, what is, that's nothing. I don't.
But that, David, that's 3 minutes of your avatar.
I understand.
So I think you've got unlimited of their avatars, but 3 minutes of your avatar.
Okay.
That's how I understand it.
Right.
Works at the higher level.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I understand the limitation. It's just silly. Like if all you can offer is 3 minutes a month,
why bother?
Don't offer it.
Because David, you passing it there, Zoom Clips Plus.
Wait, say that again?
Right there.
No, I have Zoom Clips Plus.
Okay.
No, that's part of what I have. You can't, I don't see a place where you can buy more. I mean, that makes sense, right? They give
Avatar.
you three, right? Give you 3 minutes to kind of get you hooked and then let you buy more. I don't mind paying for it if I'm going to use it. I completely understand that there's a payment for it, but if 3 minutes is really the most you can get no matter what, that just seems silly. I don't see it anymore. And you don't get more in business plan either. It's just here. Yeah. I don't know. I tried to create, so I used a different guy. Oh, it's still generating. Sorry, here's my, now where is that going? There it is. It's still generating that first clip that I asked it to do. Is there, I mean, I don't know. If I'm when I submit if I have to do a video to submit the bug reports, I don't even put myself on camera. I just do the screen and, I mean, I'm not sure I see the value in having an avatar. Maybe if you don't have I don't know what, if you don't look good that day, if you don't feel good that day, use your avatar.
No, its greatest use is the repetitive stuff that for corporate HR, I mean, that stuff changes all the time. And instead of re-recording the message, they like just and then changing the script.
Right.
And it's just so much easier for a lot of static stuff that has to get updated. At least you're on record and it's approved by legal and all that stuff. So it does have a purpose.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right, Ray. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's very hard for me to put myself into worlds that I don't live in and think about those use cases, but you're absolutely right.
David, I found the existing comments on the product. There's a Zoom Clips article.
Yeah, what'd you find?
So the summary: clip amount, clips basic, 5 clips per user, clips plus unlimited, clip duration 2 minutes maximum per clip in basic, unlimited for plus. You have the ability in both to record, edit, share, comment, and content library. Content library is going to be subject to storage requirements, I assume. And in Plus, you have translated captions as well, which I think is another thing that could be used in the corporate world. If they can create the content one and then get it translated into the other languages just to get the notes out there, that could be useful. And Clips Basic is available free in, it's available Legacy Enterprise. Clips Plus is available to the following account types: Workplace Pro and Higher, Workplace for Education, not K-12, Healthcare, and Online BAA. So we won't have our politicians using Zoom clips then for a while. That's good, isn't it? Unfortunately, there's no comments about any further version in these notes at the moment. I will put them in the chat so you can share to everyone.
Tell me if you can hear this, guys.
No.
Was that a yes? Could you hear that?
No.
Still no, huh?
How are you routing your audio, David?
I don't know. I got to figure it out. It's really weird. It's always worked before.
Do you have a mixer, a physical mixer, or a digital mixer?
I have a who's he what's it?
Oh,
Excuse me. I have a special announcement.
Hold on, I just figured it out. I just
Muddy. If you have a crash from the hysterics you're having from our working through all this, we are not liable.
No, I think I just figured it out. Try this. Hold on.
Well, I received my first clip that someone shared with me.
Put your hands on the wheel. What the hell are you
No,
doing?
I'm in full self-driving, so as long as I'm looking straight ahead, I'm in good shape.
Oh my god!
But I received my first Zoom clip this week via email, and the experience on my side was a lot like just someone sharing a Zoom recording with me. Right? It took me to the Zoom interface. It felt like I was just watching a Zoom cloud recording. So it was not super impressive to receive. Again, I guess if it's just a simple way to share a clip through the Zoom cloud interface, I guess it's functional, but that was my first experience with clips.
All right, tell me if you all can hear this. I think I may have just gotten it.
Participating in events or managing recurring sessions, these tips will help you use Zoom effectively. Section 1, Meeting Setup. When setting up recurring meetings, consider whether registration is necessary. If you enable registration, be aware that participants will be...
It's not terrible.
Eyes don't blink.
Yeah, eyes don't blink.
Arms
And
don't
lips
move.
are out of sync with the words.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's not your voice, David.
No, it's not my voice, right? Oh, wait a second, though. Oh, maybe would it be my voice on the other one if I do my own avatar? Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna make a note that I will absolutely do that for next time, so we can look at that. That's really
In fact, you could sing along with the song, David. Oh, what have I done?
No, you need Zip's Zoom Clips Ultra Special Edition for that.
Right, because that's more than 3 minutes. Yeah. That's great. I just so if anyone is curious, the audio issue is because I'm an idiot, and I was invited to the Rodecaster Pro beta software, and so of course I installed it, and it threw everything out of whack. So that's why. All right, Zoom. I have to put it on my calendar, so I won't do it. Avatar.
Dave, can I just ask you a question, just to understand how you work, your workplaces? Do you treat this machine as a production machine, or just this is my toy, I can play with it and do anything I want machine?
Production for me, this is production for me. Like coming on, doing this show, you guys are serious. I just mess around all day. I don't really do serious production work. I teach and stuff, but nothing so serious that if, like just now, if the music didn't play through, it's like I'm not going to lose my job. So,
David, but that's very modest on your side. But you have meetings, you teach, you run a show, you run two shows, you run more than two shows.
No, I do, but I'm just saying that none of that is I don't lose my job if there's a failure on any of those.
Yeah, the cost of failure is relatively low.
Right. I look silly maybe, but other than that, that's the worst thing that happens. So,
David, I can relate because I do a lot of stuff for the Boy Scouts, but it's all volunteer stuff. So cost of failure is low.
Yeah.
If something goes sideways, it went sideways. Oh, well.
Yep. So in any case, all right. So that's Zoom clips. Again,
registration page. Each time they use the.
I clicked it by accident. You know what is it? I will say one thing about this. Sorry, let me just bring it back up. One thing about this that's interesting is that we don't need the audio, but if you just watch it, it looks like they've green screened him. I mean, this whole thing is digital. Like there's no reason to have fuzz around his hair or to not have clean edges. It looks like this is a guy in front of a poorly lit green screen. And which I just think is hysterical. Go ahead, Frank.
Who's speaking out of sync? His lips are out of sync.
I believe this is a totally digital, constructed human, randomly generated with no basis on any actual human being. It's just a composite.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is that it's a little silly to me that you would have, a poor green screen effect around his head.
The aliasing, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying.
I think there's going to be a backlash against this. Like, I've already talked to people who teach who are getting assignments handed in this way. Can you imagine, like, you turn on your local television channel and the newscasters are these things, and all of a sudden every communication you have with everybody is one of these things. At some point you're going to go, I just want to talk to a real human.
I'm also curious, David, if that once you do make it this week, your AI avatar, if you'll actually have that at the top right in the video where it said that it was made by.
Yeah, it says created by. That's a really good point, right? It says created with Zoom AI Companion in the top right there. Yeah, that's a good point.
Another interesting fact about this is I'm sure it's being used to train their internal large language models.
Yeah.
So David, we actually have a Rodney from YouTube was actually talking about Mimo Live. Mimo Live's new beta came. I think that can now do ISO recording from each Zoom feed in a project defined frame rate and resolution, preventing ISO files from becoming unusable in post-production. Used it successfully today.
ISO recording of each Zoom feed in a project defined. I don't understand.
I think what I got out of that is before when was ISO recording capable in previous versions? Robert, I go for it.
It was.
Yeah. You see, the way the recordings worked up to now in the version that I have, because I haven't updated to the beta yet, is that you define an output, and the output records the ISO feed. So now it seems as if they've changed something that I don't know. I haven't played with the beta. I'm scared of betas, as you know, as opposed to David. I just wait for them to become mature before I update them. I actually had a hell of a problem with Mimo Live because I had a second instance which was a beta on the same machine, and it turns out that they were interacting with each other, and it really messed all of the RTMP coding. It just went really messy, and I had to clean completely and just start again from scratch. So
that's interesting because that's the way Ecamm works. Also, you can use the beta and the live one side by side. They both exist on the computer and they draw upon the same files.
Yeah, but when they update some of the subsystem files, and that's when things start getting messy. And I got myself in a real mess with the streaming, with the RTMP coding. So Oliver just told me just clean it all out and start from scratch, and that's what I did, and it's back to normal.
John, when you say you can set the background, did you mean for the avatars?
I do remember somebody saying something about this before, that you can set the backgrounds for the avatars.
You can't. You can't do that post. So once you click generate, it's done. So I'm thinking about the aliasing that if they were taking a digital image and then superimposing it on a background and being able to, which means you could swap that background out. Okay, maybe you could argue that aliasing could show up, but since it's burned in, I don't know. But yes, you can. There are a bunch of. If I go back, let me recent. Here we go. So if I go to create with avatars, I'll just use her. So customize your clip. I can put her in an office. I mean, that actually looks really good. View more. There are a whole bunch of offices. Will she sit? No. That would be cool. If I could get her to sit down in the chair, that would be kind of cool.
You'll be asking her to make breakfast for you next, David.
Well, you can create clips. Oh, no. Look at this, folks. It's not just your avatar. It's any avatars. You can create clips with avatars for up to 3 minutes each month. And I've used 1.5 minutes of my 3 minutes.
That's on the basic, which you're on now, David. If you paid for the next level up, you'd be able to do unlimited, but only 3 minutes of your own self.
No, this is part of my business account. This is a paid account, part of my business account.
Have you paid more for your avatar?
You don't. There's nowhere to pay more for your avatar.
I believe there is.
No, you get custom avatars, 3 minutes per month. That's custom avatars. But Clips Plus, where am I supposed to pay more for? There's no. We looked before. There's nowhere to purchase more avatars. I don't. I think that's it. And this is
something you have to activate or turn on or kind of apply to your account.
You mean in settings?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that the licensing is different with different products within Zoom, but I know that there's a whole kind of admin section where, if you had a large meeting license, you would have to kind of apply which account you want that add-on to go with, right? So I wonder if
you think that the interesting
Plus
right
licensing has to be applied to your user.
To the main, okay, right, good call. So let me log into my main account and see if it's different over there. Go ahead, Frank, while I'm doing this.
Different but related concept. The digital avatars that Zoom produces that are like the stock ones that we can all draw upon probably only take up a certain amount of space on their servers and their infrastructure because they're being recycled over and over again. So they're the template for all the stock ones. So it's probably not as demanding on their systems. When people create their own personal digital avatar of themselves, that's going to take a lot more resources because they could end up with millions of different avatars. So maybe right now they're not at the point where they're ready to support that. And as they get a handle on that, they'll expand the offering. The other point I think is they'll probably have, a certain amount of stock avatars. And for a premium, you'll be able to buy even more additional avatars. Like I see these things as profit centers for Zoom. You've got 6 avatars, but if you get bored of those, you can buy some new avatars.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've now logged into the owner account of the business plan, and I still have got, now I haven't used any time over here. So it looks to me like every user in my account has 3 minutes. is what it looks like. It looks like the Zoom Clips Plus that comes with a pro account, or in my case, a business account. It looks like that applies to every user in your account, and that every user gets 3 minutes of this. The piece that, again, it's a little, I don't know, it seems a little confusing to me. Over here on the plans and pricing, right, it says custom avatar, 3 minutes per month. When I read custom, I mean the one that I'm creating. Over here, let me just go back actually to just the Clips home screen. All right, get back to the Clips home. Here we go. Record clip, create with avatar, and then over here, customize. Oh, I guess. No, here, record a video of yourself to create a custom avatar. So the way I'm reading the pricing is the custom avatar is this thing, is me. But up here, you can create clips with avatars for 3 minutes each month. So the 3 minutes applies to just using avatars, period. That's not clear to me from the website, but that seems to be the case. And I don't know, Frank, if actually it's not costing as much for them, or it is. I get it that especially video AI is really expensive, so I'm not asking for this for free. It tease me with 3 minutes. By all means, tease me with 3 minutes, but then give me the option to get more if I want to use more. That's all. I don't.
So on a lot of the media servers that I admin, once you have a digital something and then you make more versions of it, it draws upon the same metadata and resources, and that way it's more efficient for the company's storage and processes, because you're not really creating it from scratch. You're creating there's already a template or a something that represents that. So I would think that having 6 variations or however many variations of avatars they have and a limited amount of backgrounds, maybe that's 50 or 100 variations or 1,000 variations, but that in no way compares to having millions of customers making individual avatars.
That makes a lot of sense.
David, I'm just doing a little reading here in a couple of different news releases that were put out by Zoom, and you might take a look into the AI companion add-on. It looks like it might be hiding in there, the additional AI avatar functionality.
Now you're muted, David.
Sorry, I don't even see an AI companion add-on. So again, this is my account here. Let's see. I mean, AI companion is part of the plan here. Let's learn more. AI companion, AI companion is included at no additional cost with the paid services in Zoom user accounts. Select verticals and geos may be excluded. What are geos?
Geographic locations.
Oh, thank you. May be excluded. Yeah, I don't. And down here, if I go down here to the, God, there are a lot of features. To the enhancements, the add-ons, I don't see anything here. Compliance.
Account management, account settings, then AI companion tab under clips, create custom avatars, toggle to enable or disable.
Yeah, but okay. Let me go back to how the heck do I get to enterprise switch account? There we go. All right, you want me to go to account management,
account management, account settings, and then the AI companion tab.
Yep. Okay.
And then under clips, create custom avatars.
Custom. Right. Allow users to create custom avatars for clips that would read the script they enter.
And it's on.
Yeah, mine's on. Create clips that use your user's chosen avatar to read the script they enter. Okay. Yeah, there's right. It has to be on so that people can use it.
Yeah. Yeah. For everybody else watching, that's where you need to enable it.
Great. Speaking of enabling stuff, by the way, I still can't find, and I look every day for the chat, the group chat thing that they talked about.
I don't think any of that stuff from the 14th of April's been released yet.
No, it hasn't.
I got guidance today about a bunch of product enhancements or updates, and next to that one there was a N/A next to it with no guidance about when it would be released.
Okay. Well,
I'm not saying it's not coming, but
no, but at least there's like, that's fine. Just if it's not ready yet.
But they haven't gone back and corrected the main release notes. They still say April 14th.
Yeah. Yeah.
David, I'm doing a little more digging, and I found that you can customize your AI companion, and it might be hiding in there.
I just actually found, it's so funny you said that. I don't know if this is the same thing. I'm not sure if this is what you found, but there's a new section called AI Studio.
Yes.
New.
Yeah.
It's got
that's the article I just found. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we talked about that before.
Maybe we did. I don't remember.
After Zoomtopia, they said that Zoom's AI Studio was coming out. It's going to be sort of all of the AI stuff instead of having clips as one thing and meeting summaries as another topic or tab. It's all going to be residing in one unified area.
Interesting. So this is in this looks like it's in settings. Sorry for the screaming child. There's knowledge. I mean, this is mostly just settings, it looks like to me. Knowledge, custom meeting templates, and custom dictionary.
Yeah, but this allows you to upload data so you can make it part of the AI intelligence.
Right. So, like, for example, over here in OpenAI, you can do the same thing. Where is it? Settings. Is that where it is? No, that's not where it is. Where's who am I? Customized ChatGPT, is that what it is? Yeah, here it is. What should I call you? What do you do? Right, this is where you can put all that information so that it can deal with you better, I guess. That's what this is over here. And then custom, which I should fill out at some point, but custom meeting templates. And then custom dictionary. Oh, this is just words. This, right, so if you have words that you use that are not common, I guess.
Right.
Acronyms.
Acronyms. Yep.
David, take a look at the link I put in chat. I also put it in chat for YouTube as well. That gives sort of the marketing fluff around custom AI for you. And it also has pictures of the AI studio.
So, but this isn't here yet.
From what I'm seeing, they
this
did.
Is here. These three things in the screenshot. This is what I just showed. So this is here. I think this is it, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. My coach. See, we don't have any of this stuff yet. My coach.
Yeah, my coach has been around for ages.
No, right, but we piece it, but it's not up. It's not up in the toolbar, is it? We don't have a my coach.
I think that depends on your account or your license statement, because I think that my coach is related to the support and such.
Yeah, well, I'm in a business. I mean, if anyone's going to have, unless you have to have an enterprise account, this account should have it. I don't know. I know I know that there are elements of the coach thing. I just don't know that it's all formatted nicely under. This also, this is not. Oh, I guess it is actually. Let me change. How do I make it light? I can't believe I'm going to do this because I never do it light. But just for this, it's so much prettier in light, but I can't stand it. Yeah, there is no my coach. Unless you think that's something I might have to turn on. I don't know. What do you think? I might need to turn that on.
May want to do like in your min. It might be at the min level.
Coach, meeting coach.
Meeting coach is part of smart
metrics with the-
recording.
I'm sorry?
Meeting coach is part of smart recording.
Right. Yeah, it's just
I'm
not.
wondering if it's only available if you've got events licenses, and it's only part of that at the moment. Because it's supposed to give you feedback on how good you are as a speaker.
Right. That tab, you mean. But an events license doesn't affect. I mean, I have a sessions license, and that doesn't affect your what's over here in your client. I think it's just not out yet, is what I think. I think this view that we're seeing here is just not available yet. Contact our sales team to learn more about customizing AI companion. Oh, well, okay. I mean, I'll do that. Let me switch this off so you guys don't see where I live. Not that I'm not happy to invite you all over for dinner sometime, but I will put in a request and see what happens. See how they reach back out to me. Just me. I love doing that. I love that they give so many different places when they say, how big is your organization? Just me. Unless I consider Zoom Test Kitchen my organization. All right. Thanks for contacting Zoom. One of our experts will be in touch shortly. And I am in good company. Capital One, Zendesk, Forbes, University of Miami, and WWF. WWF, isn't that the wrestling organization?
Yes, it is.
Why is their logo a panda?
Now
Was.
Oh no, World Wildlife Fund. That's the World Wildlife
Okay.
Right.
That's a strange logo for a Worldwide Wrestling Foundation. Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind that, David. But yeah.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. They went to court. There was lots of millions of dollars that flew around because World Wrestling Federation wanted to use the WWF acronym, but WWF, World Wildlife Fund, have used it and trademark, copyright, all that fun stuff that I play with on a day-to-day basis.
And World Wildlife Fund's been around a whole lot longer.
Yeah. So that's why they rebranded themselves the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment.
Which is really what it is.
Just Mike, while you were talking, someone overtook Muddy, so he's not driving flat out.
Wait, what happened? Oh.
Someone overtook Muddy. So up until now, he was in the left-hand lane. Now he moved over to the right and someone overtook him. I'm assuming that all automatically, Muddy.
It is mostly all automatic, although I can activate the blinker if I want to specifically move into a certain lane. And so if I put on my right, so if someone's tailing me, I'll flip on my right blinker, it'll move into the right lane, give them a chance to pass, but then Tesla normally says, okay, lane's clear, I'll move back into the passing lane, depending on the speed. Although I found in a 3-lane highway, it loves the middle lane. So, but yeah, most of it is automatic.
Update. So I went back in to create a knowledge collection in AI Studio to tell it about me. And I just went over to OpenAI and copied what I had put in here, which is really just my bio. And so I'm going to create an about me section. I went to paste in. It has a very limited number of letters or words. So that's a bit of a bummer. Although you can I guess maybe the idea actually is this is just a description. That's what it is. Sorry. Now I understand. This is not where you put the information. Files and documents. Oh, okay. I read this as files and documents related to the company's policies that you put those put that stuff here. But what you do is you save and then you upload it over here. That's what you do. Okay. All right. John, please jump in. Don't wait for
I
me.
have located the meeting coach section. So if
Oh.
you go into your personal settings.
All right, hold on a second. Oh God, I'm so excited. Wait, how do I get back now? Out, about, okay. Personal settings. Got it. Go ahead.
Yep. AI companion.
Yeah.
And then you want to scroll down to the recording section, which is just above the clips. And there's an extra button for meeting coach, which you have already checked everything because you're just such a involved guy.
You mean,
can you see it there?
Is this what you mean? The smart recording with AI companion?
Yeah. Can you see the fourth item there, the list? Meeting coach. That's how you enable the meeting coach reports.
Well, no, but so yes, but that's after you do a recording. So if we go over here, recordings and transcripts, if I click into a recording, then I can, where is it? Why don't I have it here? No, that's not what I wanted. Usually below it, there is is it under watch highlights? Here it is. Right. I wasn't, so my meeting code shows up right here. So for recordings, right? And you can get this we've had for a while. Your talk listen ratio, my longest spiel, which I think is hysterical that that's what they call that. Filler words, talk speed, and patience. I'm not very patient. Oh my God, that's terrible. That's terrible. Not even a second of patience.
David, you need to enhance your power of pause.
That is so me, I'm just saying. But I mean, it's right on. So yeah, this is great. What I was just referring to is that we don't have what we saw before, that it sitting in the in here. Right, we don't have it in here. That's all I was saying.
David, I did put in chat that YouTube did, or Zoom has released a YouTube video related to this custom AI companion add-on.
Is this? See, I don't want.
They put it up on YouTube on the 23rd.
Yeah, I don't want to guys take it down, so I'll just see if they show anything. AI companion add-ons. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me go back and pause that screenshot. So knowledge custody. Yeah, that's exactly what we saw. I don't mean to belittle this. It's just not for an org. This is fantastic. Now, what is this? Connectors and apps that will be supported with custom AI companion. Not all apps will be available at launch. So yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff in here. Okay, what's next? So he's just walking through some of the apps. Amazon Q, you add the connector. Okay. Yeah. Right. You can interact with it in the over in the AI chat. That's the Google Drive, summarize a document. Create a collection. Yeah. Let me just go back. So this is right, the playbook, fieldwork support, brand. I'm just looking at examples. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And again, it's just I don't know that it's oh wait a second. Wait a second.
There it is.
Per user per month. AI Studio will be available for admins to test and customize capabilities before deploying to their users. $12 per user per month. Do we get a date? This summer. There it is.
That's what it is. It's not out yet. More capabilities expected this summer, but where's the... Is now available for $12 per user per month. It says it's now available. Where? Custom AI companion add-on.
I'm still looking.
When did this video come out? 9 days ago.
Yep.
It's available now with more capabilities expected this summer. Wow, that's so interesting. Let's see if there's a no, there's no links in here at all. Zoom AI custom AI companion paid add-on Zoom. Huh. Yeah. All right. Well, I already submitted the form, so we'll see. Maybe it's one of those things that you have to reach out to them. Maybe it's not.
It probably exists in the price list, but
yeah,
they're not openly making the link available to everybody yet.
I just it's interesting to me that it's not, they don't even list it here, right? On this, maybe it just takes a little time for them to put it up, but it's interesting that it's not here. You know, and then instead of a buy now, just a learn more button, whatever.
I think I've probably experienced 3 or 4 products that I could purchase that I've never seen on the price list.
Oh, really?
So it happens a lot, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Great. Thank you, Mike, for going down that rabbit hole with us.
Yeah, a little more update. I actually have a date here on this clip, actually. I got a June 2025 date that popped up.
For what?
And this is for the personal AI coach feature.
Oh. To be coming out, to be rolling out, maybe customized AI.
Yeah, we expect the launch of the personal AI coach feature in June 2025.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And that was in the, if you look at the link I just put into chat, it's the transform how you communicate section.
Right. This is actually, this has a lot of good information, it looks like. So AI companions here at the core of our custom AI companion is Zoom's AI Studio, the portal where admins can adjust how Zoom AI companions support your organization. Low code drag and drop builder. Okay, I'm not sure I would call it that. Respectfully, you're telling it who you are. You're uploading information. But then connect a series. You'll be able to connect a series of third-party apps. That's wonderful. During a meeting, you can quickly create, access, or update Jira tickets. Okay. This is kind of nice, actually. Look at this. So you're in a meeting. Are there any Jira issues for the new analytics feature? I didn't find any. And then you just type in, create a Jira based on decision of the new analytics feature in the weekly sync. And then it can do it for you. That's fantastic. That's really powerful. And I'm saying that as someone who doesn't know what Jira is. But I can just tell that that's...
Yeah, Jira is a system that actually, it can be used multiple different ways. It's basically known for ticketing system.
Gotcha.
So should you have like a support ticket open, usually the back end, a lot of companies will use from the company's name, which is Jira.
Yep. And then this is the custom dictionaries and the custom meeting templates. And then what is this? You can add AI companion, Zoom AI account to Microsoft Teams and Google Meet meetings as if it were another participant. That's interesting. And coming soon, you'll be able to create custom agents to handle your organization's unique needs. You can create these agents with specific skill sets that will work with AI Companion to complete organization-specific tasks or automate a business process that's an important part of your workflow. And there is a note here. which let me just go to the bottom and see what that note says. Custom agents are expected to launch later this year. Okay.
And I found the buy it now button for you.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on. So
Yeah.
transform how you communicate figuratively and literally because the modern make a custom avatar.
Yeah, this is the section, David.
Yeah, with all the improvements, use AI Companion as your personal AI coach. We expect to launch in June 2025. Learn more about including pricing. If I click here, I'm guessing it's going to take me right back here. Okay. Where did you find a button? Actually,
That was the good news.
tell me.
The bad news is it's a contact sales form.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I already did. Okay. All right. Well, maybe hopefully they'll go back to me by next week. We'll see.
But this sounds more and more like what Frank just mentioned, that Zoom's AI companion is joining a meeting in MS Teams, which is being trapped by Microsoft's AI. So, and then the loop closes when you actually get an agent on your platform talking to an agent in the other platform.
I mean, is that, if it gets the work done, is that a terrible thing?
Depends what the definition of work is. Are we working now? Would you like to sit here and spend the evening with 12 avatars that are all little AI agents?
I'll tell you, just by the way, just as an aside about AI and its uses. And forgive me, Tony, he knows this already because we talked about it last night. But I discovered lovable.dev, and I've been building sites on it. It's one of those vibe coding sites, and I was working really hard building a site there, and I got it about 60-70% of the way, at which point it was absolutely clear to me that I was done. There was nothing else that I could do, and that if I ever wanted this to become a real thing, I needed to get a real professional to look at it. And so, I think you're right, Robert, that we can have agents talking to agents, but there will always come a point, I hope, there will always come a point where we need to get a real person in there to get it over the finish line.
There's some. Do you play any games, David?
Actually, don't. I'm not a gamer at all.
So you don't know what an NPC is?
Do, but the only reason I know is because of the movie on Netflix. What was that terrible movie where Ryan Reynolds was an NPC or NPC, non-player character? Yeah, that's the only reason I know it.
If my daughters play games, and they talk about agents all the time that are in the form of either NPCs or in gaming, all these avatars and buying yourself an avatar and then that avatar being available for you throughout the game, that already exists in that world.
Yeah.
It's being moved into this world of ours for some reason. And I guess when I look at it and I look at my kids, I wonder, what games are we going to play?
No, but the avatars in those worlds are like the ones that Zoom gave us where we could become animals, right? They're not
Not necessarily.
No, they're realistic. Like they scan your face or whatever, or record your face and then make
No, they don't typically go that far, but they are. I mean, you can pick what you want to look like.
Yeah,
down
but that's
to some
not
gory down to some gory details.
right. But that's just. I mean, that's not AI. That's picking an avatar, which is fine. We've had that for decades.
Forever. But
Right.
they're getting smarter. The point being is now the AI behind the avatar allows them to do more things.
Right. Well, like I said, when we jump off this meeting, I will. I mean, I could do it right now if you want. I can jump off and make my avatar. You know what, Mike? I'm going to do that. I'm going to jump off of this meeting real quick. I'm going to go make my avatar because I want to see how different it is, how much better it is than just a a lame little gaming avatar. Okay.
Choose the right account, David, before you go. You've only got 1.5 minutes left.
I have to be careful. All right, I'll be back.
All right.
I don't know, Robert. I tend to think we need a different word for what we're embarking on here. They're not really avatars at this point.
No, I don't think they are avatars, but I guess that's a word that has come in from the game and the film world, so that's what we're going with.
It's a digital stand-in.
Well, Frank actually said something interesting. He said a digital twin.
Yep. Well, that exists in the engineering world these days. That certainly exists, because I used to work with folks that generated digital twins for aircraft, as an example. The Dreamliner and the most recent Airbus were both have a digital twin where they can try things out, something new. If they want to tweak something in the airframe, there's a digital twin. But that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that digital twin equivalency too.
Yeah.
So just to give you an update about sessions and events, it was pretty quiet this week as well. So not only Marketplace, the regular Marketplace app as well was quiet this week as far as updates are concerned, but nothing from the sessions and the events world. John, correct? Unless I missed something?
Well, we're getting to that holiday season, aren't we? Where all these little zoomies will go and lay on the beach and have inspiration, come back in August and try and release all these great new ideas in September. Seems to happen every year. So I don't know what sort of holiday package you have at Zoom, but it must work well.
But do they do the support people leave? That becomes the important question.
Community forums are always available.
That's true. That's true. And I keep seeing a John Drinkwater in my summaries all the time. When it comes to feedback especially from the developer world, I have seen that. All right, so I'll open up while we're waiting for David to complete the avatar process. If there's any other questions from the YouTube audience, let us know in chat, and I will relay it to the panelists here today. And Tony has his hand up. Is that a question, Tony?
Yes, and I'm going to ask for forgiveness in advance because this might be a simple question. I am concerned with one of the things, and I need your help. So I constantly have issues when I update my Mac OS. And I wanted to know from the panel, when a new release comes out for Zoom, are you updating it automatically? Are you considering the OS, whether the OS needs to be updated? What is your process? Because I've noticed that whenever I update the OS, I'm having to reset my audio. I'm having to make adjustments to the cameras. It's just, so as these new releases for Zoom come out, what is the process that the panel members use?
I can start, but I'm the conservative one here, Tony. A bit like, I think these are Alex Lindsay's words. I wait until 6 months before I update anything. However, he did turn blue when Zoom and Blackmagic had that issue. I remember Alex came on blue, so it wasn't exactly 6 months at that point. But going back to OSs, I have several machines. I've only updated to the latest Mac OS on one machine, and I'm seeing how it behaves. I'm very, very cautious, and that's only day before yesterday. and the update has been out for, at least in my region, for at least a month. So I don't update quickly. I feel no pressure. In terms of Zoom, I don't have the automatic updates set up. I wait until something, it's usually over here when someone asks me, what version are you on? And I see I'm on a very, very old version, and then I will update. I don't do it automatically constantly. I just don't do it.
From my point of view, Tony, on the Microsoft world, we can only delay it for so long before Microsoft forces us to update. On the Mac world, I don't have any comment because I'm not a Mac user. But on the Windows side, I can delay it only for so long, to the point of if I wait too long, then I'm out of sync with Microsoft, and there's a potential that certain things will start breaking on me.
Yeah.
So
And
if you,
yeah.
in the Mac world, if you can get away with not updating and it's stable, I would stay.
Yeah. And Tony, you're not going to like my answer because I'm the exact opposite. I'm probably more like David, who says he runs on the bleeding edge. I mean, I've got the Mac OS beta, the latest beta, which only arrived yesterday, running on all my machines, right? And Zoom, I keep up to date. I don't do automatic updates, but I check weekly. I keep Zoom up to date only because I found odd things that happen, including most recently where, for those of you who remember the early days on office hours, Zoom would like to interpret the Ultra Studio Recorder or the ATEM Mini and give you every possible resolution and color variation, color combination available. So it turns out to like 50 lines of it's all camera one, but which one would you like? You know, but that actually is the Zoom code. It's not Blackmagic code. It's not the OS code.
Part of the reason I was asking because I have 4 machines, 4 Macs, and each and every one is on a different OS.
I that one I try to avoid. I might do like Robert does and do one day and then let it percolate for a week and then update the next. But if you get too far apart on Macs and they're on the same network, you have some odd communications issues that will pop up.
Well, part of the reason is that 2 of the machines are the Conversation with Tony Mobley machines. And we found that my original Mac Mini 256, 8 gigs of RAM is a support machine for my M4.
Mm-hmm.
But the M4 only has, it has the version that it was shipped with and then one update. But the original Mac Mini 256 is, I don't know how many generations behind, but it's a support machine for the M4. So they work together. And so far, we haven't really had a lot of issues with it. And they primarily just run Mimo Live. But my laptop is, I'm going to say, up to date. But the machine that you're seeing me on right now is probably 2 generations behind. And I'm having an issue with this machine more so than I've ever had before because it's constantly asking me to update it. And I've never experienced that with Mac before. It's sending me notices that I need to update to the latest Mac OS. And that was part of the reasons I'm asking a question, because I really don't want to have to go in and audio hijack and loop back just don't like updates.
Right.
And so
Tony, the problem is, once upon a time, when I was a young lad, we used to have something called beta software. You might have heard the term beta software. I'm being slightly sarcastic here, but in the old days, there was a release version of software and there was a beta version of software. And those people that needed to interact with the operating system could get the beta copy of the software, could make sure that their software was going to work with the new release before the new release was released. Nowadays, you hardly ever get beta software. You hardly ever get those big companies sharing their beta software with all the other developers. So there's a constant game of catch up. A new version of an operating system comes out, all the main applications then try and catch up, and then all the third-party apps that work with those try and catch up, and you get this cascade effect of problems. And I'm afraid that's just the way the world is now. It's not a secure world for software, but I feel very concerned that you are running multiple versions of your operating system. You should have one machine. If you've got multiple machines doing similar things, in other words, you've got similar software, you should have one machine that you update immediately. You test it, you find the issues. When it works and does everything you want, then you upgrade all the others to the same version. But please don't have multiple versions of stuff. This is why the Zoom community forum is full of people complaining about this and that. And do you know what the first answer from Zoom is? Update your software, then come back and tell us if it's still a problem. Because Zoom can't look after previous versions, and nor can any other third-party programs. But there is a good reason for not upgrading day one. You know, Windows makes a change or Mac makes a change in its sound devices. OBS, Mimo Live, and all those sort of programs then have to make sure that they work, but they don't find out until the software comes out. All the plugins and interactive software that works with those then need to make sure their bits work. And it's a cascade of problems, but do not leave your software too long. In fact, Zoom do not support anything older than 9 months old now. So if your machine is over 9 months old, you can't even run it. That's how they've taken the view now. And that also affects any developers doing third-party software and whatever. They've got to catch up to that version to work as well. But,
so does it matter? Does it matter if the computer is more or less just an appliance?
It matters whatever it is, because if they make some change to the way the sound works, I mean, I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty certain that Mac, for instance, have made loads of changes on their audio, and they are constantly making changes on their audio. And I even found out, and I'm probably one of the last person to find out, that their earphones, they actually have their own completely personal protocol that has nothing to do with anybody else, and they won't release that data to anybody. The community forums have been full of problems with audio on Macs for about the last 2 years. And the problems have disappeared, but new ones have turned up. So old headsets don't work, new headsets don't work. You can't get it off mute. It goes off mute when you don't want it. You walk out of range and it mutes itself. All these things happening. Zoom has to say, okay, we won't allow them to mute. We'll allow them to mute. What do we do? It's a constant fight, and it's frustrating because, as I said, back in the old days, you'd have a piece of software. You could test everything. Corporates could test all their systems. Now they have to wait till the stuff is released, and then they have to go and test it all. And then go back to the companies where it doesn't work properly and wait for them to release the update to catch up. And then when everybody's caught up, as a corporate, you then release it to the rest of your organization. But I feel for you, and there'll be a load of people watching this who will have the same experiences. And unfortunately, it's the way world works now.
So I have to admit, John, because I belong to the Apple developer forum, so I get the developer betas, right? So those are, and I know Andy does too, because he and I have had some conversations about that. So they are testing their stuff with the new stuff as Apple rolls it out. The problem is, which is you were hinting at, but it didn't really come out, is keeping all that, pick your favorite foul word stuff synchronized is the problem. I mean, I can get beta software, and I do quite deliberately, and report stuff back through the Apple reporting function for people on the developer beta. But you have to, for the general purpose user, that's why I made the comment, they need to be in sync. So so the current version is, I went in mode here. I just lost it out of my head. So I'm on 15.4 beta 3, excuse me. But 15.3 is the most current version of Mac software, and it will run on your M1 Mac, because I was up until a week and a half ago. It will run on your M4. So if they're all synchronized, you minimize, I don't say you eliminate, you minimize potential disconnects between the two in terms of how they interact with each other.
There's a question. Sorry.
Were you successful?
What,
You wouldn't
me?
You wouldn't have to generate your avatar. Were you successful?
No, sorry, I forgot. No, it said there are security, and I did it, like I did exactly what it said, and it didn't create it. I'll try again during the week. But someone just put in the chat, Roland, did the panel look at the price increases for Zoom Workplace? And actually, I just saw that also. I literally just saw it.
Yeah, Roland and I were actually having this discussion yesterday about that. In Canada, no changes.
So in 1832, it says here that pro accounts are going up by $1 in June, but I don't see that anywhere, and I can't find it. Right now, what I see at least is $13.33 per month in 1832. I can't find anything about it going up a dollar. Roland, if you know where that might be, or where you saw that, because I'm not seeing it anywhere. Anyone else see anything about that?
No.
This show is global, so regional differences, exchange rates, we're not going to have the same experience.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised because of what we were just talking about with the rollout of Zoom AI companion and stuff like that. Oh, I don't have anything to show. That's why I turned myself off. Sorry. I'm just looking around trying to find something. Yeah, there's nothing that I can. Zoom Workplace on the App Store. No, wait a second. Bear with me a second here. So I was just $15.99. What is it monthly? So, this must be a sorry. So I went into the Apple Store, and down at the bottom here, in-app purchases, the prices are $15.99 and $159.99. But I think that's just higher because of the Apple tax. Like, I think Zoom makes it more expensive in the App Store than it does elsewhere. I don't know about that price increase. Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know about it. Interesting.
And the only mention that I'm finding, David, right now is mentioned that it went up $1 in 2024.
2020. Yeah, I saw that also. Right. Yeah.
What hasn't gone up exactly?
That's right. Of course.
You know, world politics.
Is there any way in which Zoom's work will be affected by the tariffs and the trade war? I don't know enough about how Zoom works. I mean, is it data centers would be at risk, or because they're a SaaS, I guess, affected, right?
I would imagine Zoom owns vehicles. Zoom has components they order from China for servers, furniture, anything any company needs. They have the same requirements, right?
Right, but I'm wondering about the functionality as it trickles down to us. I wonder if.
But they're not gonna eat the cost.
Right.
Yeah. So David, the easiest way to answer that is that if there's a component that helps run their business that is tariffed, then the official answer is yes. So example would be, especially for our friends in the AI companion world, the more and more servers that they add for AI companion, the costs, if they haven't purchased it up until X date, which I believe is in the past now at this point, then if they should buy it in following months, chances are those servers are going to cost them more money. And officially, if they're using any NVIDIA related gear in those to help them with their AI generation of AI companion, then sure, because NVIDIA is going to be charging more money because, it all becomes a trickle down effect.
Everything's a trickle effect. I mean,
yeah,
it's a force multiplier in the stock market and in the economy. So if gas costs more and they get charged more by their suppliers to deliver things in boxes to their warehouse, if the snacks in the lunchroom cost more, if anything costs more, they're going to pass it on to the consumer. If the stock market takes a bit of a dive or their stock decreases and they want to shore up their stocks, then they're going to try and change the PDE earnings, right? Like profit to ratio, I should say.
What is PDE?
Profit to earnings ratio.
Yeah.
Oh, PTE. Got it.
It's actually PE. It's actually abbreviated P/E.
There you go.
Got it.
Anyways, politics is something I thought our show tried to stay away from.
Yeah. If the merch costs more, I might not get so much swag. Yeah, that's true, John. You might not. Frank, you okay over there?
Yeah.
Is it hot?
It is warm here.
No, I mean because the fire.
Oh, the fire! Yeah, Mike's burning me. I'm right above you on the Hollywood Squares here, Mike. Looks like you're roasting me.
Oh no, those are actually.
I know, but from curtains, from back here, it almost looks like fire.
I did have a fire-ish one on before, but I went to curtains. I thought it was a less intimidating.
I can't get the marshmallows.
One of the parents at my school drove up one day in her Tesla, and she had a fire on the screen, a campfire, and they were making a big deal because if you it's warm. Like the Tesla blows warm air. It's crazy. Like whoever thought of that? I just love that. Love that.
Maybe they should spend more time getting their body panels to stay on the vehicles.
So you mentioned Companion, so I just updated. Companion's really
are we talking? Sorry, just a clarification for the Zoom Test Kitchen community. BitFocus Companion or AI Companion?
Well, you said before when you were you talking about AI Companion? You said
I was.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I heard BitFocus. I didn't hear BitFocus, but I assumed it was companion. So then I jumped over and I realized.
Oh, we were talking about Zoom's companion, Dick.
I know, but BitFocus.
I was staying on topic, I swear.
Oh, you know what we should check? I haven't seen it yet.
There is a newer version of BitFocus companion, though, if you want to.
That I got. But I wonder if Zoom's, let me go to the marketplace. If their Stream Deck app is out. Let's see. Because there are these 3 things that I'm looking forward to getting, and that's not out. No. Okay.
Can you tell us how your tests are coming along with the what's it called? The production, the graphics production stuff from Zoom that you're testing?
So, I mean, there's not much to report. I mean, what I was struggling with at first is, and they addressed this when they talked about this, is that the way that it's set up right now, you have access to every knob and doohickey, and because of that, there are just a gazillion of them, and so it's very, and forget the configuring it on the back end in code, even in the UI that's meant for normal people like me, it's very confusing. And so after playing with it, I can get, let's see, where is it? So here's, I was able to change the background. So I used my brand colors. I used that kind of blue gray thing in the background, and then the green, or the whatever the hell color that is. I was able to make it that I needed to make the text bigger. I was able to move it over the other side. None of this is drag and drop at this point. It's all putting in numbers, basically. But I mean, this one I've gotten to work. This is the chat scroll, the chat highlight. I haven't gotten to work yet, but I also haven't played with it a lot. So, but this is very, it's very nice. I mean, it's usually when I'm doing if I bring up a chat, I use it. You don't see my picture here, but I use, natively, there's a chat feature in Ecamm that allows me to grab the Zoom chat. And so I have a specific screen built for that. But if I just want to have the whole Zoom chat up there, this is a nice way to do it and have it stylized. That's the other piece. Because I could do that with just a screen scrape, but this way I can actually stylize it, which is nice. Use brand colors or what have you. So it gets the job done. We could try a poll if you want, because I have it in this meeting. Let's actually try that. Why not?
Sounds good.
Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to pull up polls. Okay. So let me just show you what's happening here. So I've got polls up, and we'll just do the food poll. I don't even know what this is. These are pretend polls. All right. So I now have a poll up. No, wait, you know what? I didn't even. All right, well, see, it's not even showing up now. I'm not quite sure.
It's not showing up at oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
I'm not entirely sure, though, why.
David, I'm host right now. Do you want to be host?
No. I don't think the graphics will needs to be host.
Okay.
Or co-host. I don't know. Maybe it does. Do you think it needs?
You are co-host right now.
No. But the do me a favor. Make TTG Graphics co-host, because that's the Zoom Graphics thing.
Yeah. 1 sec.
Yeah. I don't remember if it needs to be a co-host. Oh yeah. Yeah, it does. Okay. So
there you go.
Get out of this. I'm not going to bring up the back end. I'm not technically supposed to show that, I think. They asked us not to, but so I can, now that it's co-hosted, I can now see the food poll, which is active, and it shows me it's active. And so what does this allow me to do now? So in progress, show question. Hold on a second. So I can show it says showing question, but where is it showing the question? I'm not sure that this piece is working yet. Hide question. Showing question. Show result. I'm sorry. I don't. This piece. I don't see how to get this out to the meeting.
I'm looking at two questions, David.
But what do you mean you're looking at two? But you're just seeing them in the.
Yeah, he still sees the poll, I think.
Yeah, that's just the poll.
Okay.
Right. End poll. Yeah, see, so what I don't have here is I don't see a way for me to share the poll results.
Yeah, I don't remember if Andy and Jonathan did that with us.
I can't remember. I hide question, hide result. I'm not sure this is ready. This piece is ready yet. So what I have right now, so there are two sections to the Zoom graphics tool as it's built right now. There's the graphics manager, and then there's a manager for each element. So there's a manager for chat, a manager for questions, and a manager for poll. What the managers do is actually show you the chat or the poll, and then allow you to select it, and you can favorite a chat or you can highlight a chat, things like that. The graphics manager is where you build the what you're actually going to bring into production. There is now a graphics manager for chat scroll, which is this guy here, and for chat highlight, which is the one I don't have set up on networking yet. There isn't one for poll manager. So that's why I think there's no way for me to bring this in.
So something interesting that I noticed, David, is that I actually thumbs up David or Frank's comment about, he said, Mike, your flames are burning me. I actually, as you can see in chat, I did the Canada flag.
Yeah.
No representation in chat that I did any thumbs up or anything like that to it.
That you thumbed up a chat. They did have, though, and again, maybe this isn't, maybe I don't have it ready, but they did show us the, what do you call it? The, what are those called?
Right.
The reactions, right? They did do that.
Yeah, they did that, but yeah. So there's
No, but that's just me doing it.
okay. But what I'm saying is that I'm talking within chat to
No,
see
I
that
understand. Yeah, you thumbed up something and yeah, there was, yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
where Frank's putting in the actual heart did come up, but yet thumbing up that heart, it's not there.
Right. Yeah, they're still working on it. I mean, they do have the replies, and you can see, by the way, in the reply here on my screen, you can see that I did not format that. So there's a separate area where you have to do all the formatting for replies, which I did not do yet. That's why it looks like that. I wonder if, where's replies? Avatar just, oh, chat reply. Yeah, chat reply has a whole other section with all the same. Yeah, I'm not going to go through this now. Although if I do that, let's just see if that updates.
There you go, Hasmuth. You get to see that in chat, that I put it in chat as well.
CSS color, CSS image, CSS color. Yeah, so it's not entirely up yet. Who knew a day will come when I follow a ZTK show in YouTube? That day is here, Hasmuk. That day is here. Oh, you can't see how it just changed to black. Now that I'm noticing that. I didn't actually mean to do that, but what I meant to do is this chat message. Backdrop. Okay. What else do we have? Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to share that with you that I'm slowly coming to the conclusion that to have a vertical format stream going out at the same time as a horizontal stream, we need a second workflow because everything that you're putting on screen just disappears. It just goes out of format.
Were you trying to send from one thing to Memo and then... Oh, we lost your audio. Or I lost your audio. Did everyone else lose his audio?
Yes.
No, I'm still here. It's just what you've spotlighted is coming in with delay. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
uh,
Oh, look at my head. Hello.
yeah. The two things. Every time you use the tool that you're using to give yourself put yourself into a little window and then have the rest up there, it just goes crazy because it doesn't know what to do. Because it's the way I'm doing it is I'm trying to center your head. In other words, there's face tracking on to keep you in the center of the vertical format. And that gets messed up. Now I've got a infinity. So this is not going to work. I don't think this is going to work. However much I'd like it to work, it'll be good for a conversation, but whenever anything is shared or anything is out of the standard format, it just won't work. We need a separate workflow.
Were you sending it? You're sending it from Zoom. How are you getting how are you getting it out of Zoom into, sorry.
Yeah. Well, last week I used Mimo Live, but there was an issue because every time the speakers changed, there was a drop in resolution. So today I'm doing it through Zoom OS, Zoom ISO. So I'm sending it out from Zoom ISO on a separate machine over NDI into Mimo Live, where I'm formatting it into 2 documents. And I take the inputs, I can take the inputs directly now from Zoom ISO. So I can actually format them differently. And I've set that up. I can format you differently and have your head below and the share screen on top. But when we come to the point where you've got these comments or chat on the right-hand side, I just get totally blown away. I don't have a format for that. So it's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
Yeah. Although if you just cut off the sides, then the chat wouldn't be there, right?
The chat's not there because it face tracks, so it centers your face in the middle of the screen.
Right.
And so the chat's just not on screen at all. Which is one solution, but if you start talking about the chat, then it's sort of for
the other solution is to use the Zoom Graphics tool and take the output from Zoom Graphics toolkit, bring that in as a separate feed, because that's what it is essentially, right? So don't grab that from my feed, grab that as its own feed.
Yeah, that as a separate feed and then format it differently and put it in underneath the image. So like I said, there's a separate workflow required if there is anything that is not just a standard Zoom layout. Because I can handle the share screen if it's a share screen. Because I've got a format for that. I'll stick on the top and then put the image of the person at the bottom. But once you start mixing those two at your end, at the camera end, then that's when I just lose
always
it.
the problem when you've got folks that are using. This happens all the time in with Ecamm. A lot of the Ecamm folks, they have just by their default scene has a border around it and a lower third and stuff like that. And that mine was old, like Mike's actually. right? That's a lot of folks' default scene. And that's what I did also until I joined Office Hours. And Alex and the others convinced me that simplicity is better. And so get rid of all that stuff. But the problem is that if, for like the show that Tony and I do on Thursday nights, when if I were to bring Mike in as a guest, all ISO does, or Ecamm in my case does, is it grabs his feed. And if he's sending in a feed with a border, and then I'm taking that feed and I'm putting it into a different shape, which is exactly what you're talking about, it just doesn't work. And so, you know, those of us who use these tools, we make it a lot harder on when we join production sometimes.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, like I said, because at the end of the month, I need to stream from Zoom into onto YouTube and onto Instagram. So I've got two different formats. So I think the prep work here is because we have to know exactly what's going to be shared and what the format of the screens and the layouts of the screens of the individual speakers is going to be.
Yeah,
so we don't have a David Paskin coming on with his
right. But you could
magic.
you could have your ISO machine in the meeting, one ISO machine, send those feeds out to two separate computers, one sending vertical to Instagram and the other sending horizontal to YouTube.
Yeah, that's not the problem. In fact, it's even on one machine because I can do it with Mimo Live having two documents open on the same machine. That's not the challenge.
The challenge is the source material.
Right.
See, the trouble is the challenge for me is if I have a share screen and then a person underneath, and that's one layout. Then I need to have another layout that says, okay, if David Paskin comes on and he wants to share something, it needs to be a completely different format from everything else.
Right. Or you tell David Paskin to stop being a show off and just do it the normal way like everyone else does for this show.
Yeah.
Right.
The simplistic problem that I constantly run into is people we can debate whether or not they should be showing slides or not, but active screen share, sometimes people are showing 16:9 slides and sometimes they're showing 4:3 slides. And that just looks terrible.
Yeah.
You know what though? I will say, Peter, so I was like, I have always been a 16:9 slide guy. Always.
I don't have a bias either way. I'm not saying they look, I'm just simply saying if speaker A if you set up for 16:9 slides.
No, absolutely.
And then somebody decides to show 4:3 slides, it looks terrible.
Right. No, absolutely. What's interesting? So this screen share as I have it here,
right,
which really isn't a screen share, right? But the idea is that this is a 16:9 essentially screen share.
Right.
What I did a thing the other a couple weeks ago with someone who intentionally did 4:3 slides. And what was interesting about it in when you're using one of these third-party tools and you can create or even I guess Zoom production studio and you can create your own scenes, is that it actually gives you a lot more room to work with, because if you look right now above and below with a 16:9 share, that is a tremendous amount of space wasted if it's not full screen. So if you're stylizing a screen, 4:3 is actually, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's actually better, I think.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. I'm just simply saying that, what I've run into is you don't know ahead of time. If you don't know ahead of time and you set up for 16:9, suddenly you got two giant black bars.
And does Zoom is optimized for 16:9, yes? Is that the default for Zoom? I mean, there's no way to change it, right? It just takes whatever you send it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, because I'm running it on another machine right now, nothing to do with this show, but yeah, it looks like it's optimized for, I can set it up to any of the 16:9 formats. I don't think I can set it up for any of the other formats. Right, so 720p, 1080p, those are all 16:9 formats.
I'm gonna open a keynote. I'm gonna come to you, Frank. But while just so people know what I'm doing, I'm gonna do a new keynote intentionally in 4x3, and then share it. I want to see how Zoom behaves. Go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
A couple of thoughts on this. I often look at these things like it's a video production, and it's not. But we try to bring video production techniques and thoughtfulness to it. Until you mentioned the extra layout space from the 4x3, like any modern normal person now should be using 16:9. All our devices are 16:9 or 16:10. Our TVs, our phones, all these things are all, really set up for that sort of modern post 4x3 television era. But I can see where if you were designing a show and you needed a graphical look, you would go 4x3, like you're saying. In Zoom, there's a setting for HD for your camera, but there's also a setting for original ratio, which I assume means 4x3 or whatever your computer's generating at that time. Anyways, those were just a few random thoughts I had on that.
Interesting. So let's take a look here. So I just made just a one screen thing here. On my screen share options. So here's these are the screen share options over here. I've got these guys again, which I'm not going to do because of my setup. Well, actually, no, it won't work on my setup. Sorry. Layouts and options. No. So I'm just going to choose the keynote and share. Now it's going to be hard. I can't really see. Well, no. So you just get the black bars on either side.
Yeah,
right?
you get it gets letterbarred. Yeah.
If the black of the slide was closer to 0 RGB, then it wouldn't stand out so much, right?
That's interesting. Let's change that. Yeah. Let's background.
Well, there's also a distinction between using the screen share function versus sending it in as a super source as a video feed. Right?
No, of course, right. No, I'm talking about using it as.
And I think what my experience has been, if someone is doing a screen share and sending a non 16:9, sending some other aspect ratio, if I'm in dual screen mode, my second screen conforms to whatever format that screen share is. Like,
it's not doing it right now because we're yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm mistaken.
So this is so I made it black. What's interesting, Frank, is that I would almost have to use a color picker to find the color.
Yeah. Sure. Whatever that is. Yeah.
Of the background.
And it's interesting. Robert's trying to do 9:16, which I don't think Zoom's optimized for, but there's, if he wants to live stream to, I don't know, whatever social media platform, some of those are, vertical video.
Yeah.
And David, I'm showing you what YouTube showed when you did the screen share in chat.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I cannot stand how Zoom rearranges everything on my screen when I go to screen share, which is why I never screen share. It drives me berserk. Everything, like, I have my main window up here. I keep it full screen with the gallery. And then as soon as I go into screen share, that disappears, that moves down here. And then when I undo the screen share, it goes back, but it doesn't go full screen again. And like, everything is just,
It's why I use an ATEM with a super source and a second machine.
Exactly. That's why I use Ecamm. I can't, it just drives me berserk.
Well, Peter, to your point, it's also a good reason I find that this is where mix effect really comes in well, because I can have a number of different.
I use mix effects for exactly that reason. Yeah,
someone happens to be sharing a different size. It's like, okay, let's cut to that look. So now, did you hear about Adam's latest project?
Muddy, there's another person in the car with you, and you're talking to us.
That's right.
What?
There's 3 people in the car.
What? This
It's a
is what's
6-hour
wrong-
drive.
This
right?
is what's wrong with
So-
technology. This is why we don't know how to talk to each other anymore. Even with human beings in his car, which he doesn't have to drive, Muddy is on a Zoom meeting. I love that so
The
much.
modern
Come and collaborate. It's fun.
the modern definition of marriage is you and your spouse sitting on the couch, one person trying to watch TV while the other person watches social media full blast.
Oh my
David, we
God.
should be asking Muddy if they are being entertained because obviously they're watching what he's watching.
No, they're not. I think exactly what Frank said. They're probably plugged in with earbuds, I'm guessing, to their phone.
No, one's doing homework in the back seat. The other one's doing real estate deals in the front seat. So
Well, we love you all. Enjoy your drive.
they can't hear you.
Oh, they
so
can't hear-
you're in my ears. Yeah. Yeah. But I've got my shocks on, so I can hear them. But also
Gotcha.
hear you. But I alluded to Adam Tao's latest project, Route Effect. If you haven't heard of it yet, put out a great video this week.
Called again?
It's called Route Effect. So just like Mix Effects is kind of a custom software to operate ATEMs, the Route Effect is a custom software to operate the video hubs.
Right.
Yeah, look at this. Wow. It's from Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's again, I don't want to get us taken down, so I'll just wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's can I just say this is terrifying to me. That's wild.
Well, it's interesting, but I haven't had to go that far. I just use my 2ME as my hub as well, and just route things that way. I mean,
Look at this. So is this out now? Muddy, did he release this already?
Yeah, it's out now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a big problem
Yeah, I could imagine
because once you get more than one video switcher, once you go beyond one ATEM and you've got video hubs and all the other devices, managing them all is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's what this product's all about, trying to bring it all into one place so you can control them all.
Look at that. That's amazing.
And by the way, when screen sharing, you can actually choose full size mode, maximize window, or maintain current size in your settings.
No, but that's for that's on the receiving end. That's when someone screen shares. How do you want your Zoom to behave?
Yeah, but those settings are why it jumps around, because it's trying to set a set of rules.
No, because I have mine to stop touching stuff. I have mine set to screen share. Here it is. Window size when screen sharing. Maintain current size. Don't touch my windows, and it still does it.
Yep.
So
I'm not going to say that it doesn't do that to Windows, but it may. It hasn't to me yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Wow, this is exciting from Adam. I didn't know about this. This is really wow.
Website link is in chat for you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. Routeeffect.com.
Yeah. And
The question is, do you have a video hub, David?
No, I have zero use for it. I'm not, but I mean, looks so powerful. Sorry,
But
Rob.
I think Adam said that you can actually use 2 ATEM minis and route them as well, so that you have various inputs and you can treat all of the outputs of the ATEM minis as the same pool of outputs through the router, which is pretty interesting because it gives you a lot of options at the moment. When we're doing a hybrid, we'd have one ATEM mini just for all of the cameras, the second ATEM mini for all of the sources of the presentations, because you can have a Windows presentation, you can have a Mac presentation, and you can have a bring your own device presentation. So you got to be able to switch through those and then add them up. So I'm going to play with it. I haven't had time to play with it yet, but it really looks interesting.
Okay.
20 sources by 20 sources can get used up really quickly. You may want to buy something larger, pay once, cry once, or something if you have a need for that.
Yeah, you never know once you get into certain situations. And again, heaven forbid one of the ports dies too. Trust me, I've been there, done that. During an event, all of a sudden, oh, the fun of being able to quickly going to one of those and quickly switching it out because XYZ cable decided to die or the port died. And I believe David, David did say that he was leaving. I didn't catch that. He didn't mention that to me. He just said that in chat. Sorry, everybody. Hi. That's why, yeah. So just in case everybody wondered where David went, so did I, because I was busy chatting with everybody on YouTube. But anyways, everybody on YouTube, if you do have any questions for us, let me know in chat, and I will go back to what everybody was talking about there. Sorry, I was busy chatting with Roland because I was asking him, Roland, again, if you're still watching us on YouTube, if you do have a link to that price increase that you saw, that you reported to me yesterday about, let me know in YouTube chat. I don't know if you can actually send me the URL, but just give me the site and I'll go see if I can go find it. Any other topics we want to talk about while I just finish up my little chat that I was doing there, and I'll be right back to everybody.
Well, I guess I'll share one things I started doing because so Frank, I would agree with you in a true production situation, you probably can never have too many inputs and outputs because things go wrong at the damnedest times. But I found I took on my 2ME, I took the two multi-view outputs and routed them into the last two inputs of my 2ME. So 19 and 20, 19 and 20. And that way, and then I can send, and then on the output side, the last two outputs go to a pair of screens. And I can therefore see exactly what's going on and control which screens, because I'll show you here. It's probably easier, just heck with it. Right, so I can control whatever's going to any of my screens. I tend to believe this has turned into for those of us who are of a certain age, who like to invest in stereo equipment when we were younger, this has turned into my expensive hobby as I've gotten older, because it really is. It's just a hobby for me.
Peter's playing with he's showing off all of the toys in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. But using those two, using the outputs and multi-views that way, I can actually decide what I'm looking at on what screen.
Mm-hmm. And it also gives you the capability of actually routing that to any other outputs that you have too. So if you do need more than two,
I mean, I could in fact send you my multi-view right now as my camera feed.
Right. Yeah, it does become useful, especially in larger productions too. If you need, if you have an example as a PTZ person that is strictly controlling the PTZs, if you have anybody that's doing the color correcting of the cameras, that would be another multi-view. If you have another person that's even send a multi-view to the audio guy so that he knows who's programming preview, there's a lot of different variations. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Peter's multi-view.
Yeah.
Hello, John, and unmute when you're ready.
I just wanted to say hi to Peter and just say, the rule of, outputs are the total number of outputs you need for a production is the total you have plus two.
I think that's optimistic.
That's not a bad number. It's a nice even number. I'll give you that. It's not a bad number, you know. And again, I would say the same thing for audio as well as video. It's always more audio channels. You'll never know when that fader all of a sudden goes wonky on the audio port does too.
Or Ethernet ports.
Yes.
Ethernet ports. Yes.
And
new
a
Fandango
couple more
stuff.
watts of POV power. But I have to admit the stuff that Aaron Tao does is just amazing. And I think, Robert, you're right. You can do it with two of the ATEMs. I've got to figure out if it'll really work with my ATEM Mini Pro and my ATEM Extreme, because I've switched off of hardware switching and doing everything through Mimo Live. But I've got some work that I do with the state parks that if it would do that, then I'd put those two together for one of their studios.
So John, just as a matter, if you're doing all of your production work on Mimo Live, do you have a situation where you're trying to stream vertically and horizontally like I'm trying to do over here from Mimo Live?
Well, I don't do that much of my own stuff. So we're working with our local community access. And yeah, you could set the window you want, vertical or horizontal, with Mimo Live. I don't know.
I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I know how to do it. I've got it here on the screen here that's going through YouTube. I'm just wondering if you could share any experience that you have if you've been doing it.
All I know is that we've been outputting it to Zoom. That's all that I do. But go onto Oliver's channel, to his Discord, and he'll give you specs on that. All I know is that I had some projects where I had to do off video sizes. It wasn't any standard size. And Oliver showed me how you can make a video frame any size you want. So if you're actually putting something on a video wall, you could have very strange resolutions and still have Mimo Live handle
it. Yeah. And the reason I was looking at this and I'm testing it is because theoretically with Mimo Live, we could use a BitFocus companion and using one button on the Stream Deck, change the format or the view on both of the documents in Mimo Live. So that would mean that I could define the format or the layout for the vertical and the horizontal. And then when something changes, switching with one button on a Stream Deck. So that's the ultimate goal.
So you're using two instances of Mimo, one for the horizontal, one for the vertical.
Actually, I'm using one instant, but two documents are open.
Oh, okay. I usually run multiple instances with a separate document in each one, but I may not have as powerful a Mac as you have.
Yeah, the Mac is not the problem. The problem I had last week when we did the tests is I was using the Zoom SDK in Mimo Live, and when it switched from one speaker to the other, it would have to bring up the resolution because it drops the resolution down to 360 when it's not being used. And so you'd have this resolution going up and down, up and down. Even with a conversation between two people, you'd have this thing going. So today I've got it on a separate machine. I'm using Zoom ISO and taking out the NDI feeds and feeding them into Mimo Live. And it's clean. It's clean now. So I don't have that issue anymore.
So, Robert, it sounds like to me it's a workaround because of the way that they've integrated Zoom then into Mimo Live.
It sounds as if they're reducing or saving on capacity when the stream, the ISO feed is not required. And there's also, I spoke to Oliver about this, and he suggested that you open the, I forget what it's called. It's called a multi-view, I think. And you open the multi-view and you define the speakers that you want in there. You have 4 windows. However, that's okay, but you have to keep switching the people in those windows to keep them open all the time. And you don't know who's going to speak next.
Right.
Yeah. So when you do that, though, you keep the resolution. So we've done that.
Yeah.
So, and you can use OSC to switch the people into that window.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yes.
Yeah, we had a situation where, we were never going to have more than 4, but we had 16 people, and we were actually switching out a whole panel, and we were able to do that without having to, we could preload it.
Robert, would speaker mode also be useful or no in this case?
Well, this is what I was using, Active Speaker, in Mimo Live, and that's where the problem was coming up. And that's what I'm using in Zoom ISO today, and it's clean. So it's something in Mimo Live, because it's not an issue with the SDK because they're using the same SDK.
Right.
So,
yeah, and it very well could be just the way they implemented it, or again, it can be just as simple, unfortunately, as they might be just that little bit behind where there's been a modification to that functionality in the SDK.
No, I actually spoke with Andy and with Oliver that they're all in the same, so that's not the issue.
Okay.
Mimo Live is doing something just not to use up capacity when the stream or the input feed isn't being used. But like I was speaking with John, the multi-view will sort of force Mimo Live to keep it at max resolution, but you've only got 4 windows. What I didn't think about in what John just said is you can use OSC Companion to choose who you want in the multi-view. So that's sort of, if you know who's going to speak next, you click him, put him in the multi-view, and then let him switch automatically. Yeah. So
right. Yeah. So you're faking the preview is what you're basically doing. Yeah. See, in vMix, if you already have that scene where you've already basically already put in the person, if it's going to be that certain ISO channel or the active speaker, then already it's bringing it down, waiting in preview at 1080p before you switch to it. So it sounds like that's where Mimo Live might not be ramping that up quick enough to where if it's in preview mode, does Mimo Live have like a preview program mode or no?
No, it doesn't, and it doesn't work like the classical preview and program. You don't have that set up, but you have a multi-view where you can select and put people into this multi-view mode where they'll be in full resolution.
It still is a Photoshop layer type thing, so it's not a preview and program. But I do wonder, when we did this, there were panels of 4, and it was just that we could switch them out. We knew who was going to be the next session. I wonder if you could do the audio follow video and automatically switch somebody who's speaking into the 4.
What do you think, Robert?
But it should be okay. Because when you define them, you actually, it should work. That should work.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I realized what you're trying to do is, you had 16 people, you don't know who's going to talk next. And I wonder if you could pre-program a hand raise. So if you knew the person if you had it disciplined. So we have that with the parts when we have multiple parts all going into the same event. And for timing, we send a emoji to one, and when they're ready, they put theirs up, and that gives us the cue that they're, tell them to stand by, and then they know we're going to pick them.
Yeah. With Zoom ISO, of course, you can just go to the group management, the attendees management, and you can see everyone with their hands up. So you can actually just allocate them and select them, because you don't want to, if we have a meeting where we've got 1,000 people attending, we don't want to have to define outputs for 1,000 people. It just won't work. And so we have outputs predefined for the main group of people. And then the people who put their hands up, we just look at that, who's got their hand up, and we put them in as they put their hands up, and we're ready to go. So that's that doesn't work. That works okay. I just don't know how to do that in Mimo Live. I guess Mimo Live isn't really, this isn't the right tool for this job. But so what we're looking for is a workaround. But what I'm looking for is to solve the problem that I have, or the challenge that I have, or the task really, is to stream to Instagram and to YouTube in two different formats at the same time. Because it has to be at the same time, because the feedback from the chat will be collected from both streams, and someone needs to be able to answer questions and things like that. So I can't hear you, John.
You would think the guy would learn how to use Zoom since 2012. Anyway, you're unmuted. I think Mimo with 2 instances should be able to do that. It should be able to do it very well.
I've been testing it. Mimo handles that no problem. I've got two documents, and that's what's going through. If you can see the window down Rob's screen share of YouTube. So that's going through, and that's no problem at all. We've got the audio, the video, and everything is clean. The challenge is when someone, if you spotlight me, it's going to start. No, it seems to be okay at the moment, but I'll be out of sync in terms of audio. The challenge here is if you've got someone like David Paskin who comes on and he's putting all of these things onto his screen and changing his shape or his head shape in a smaller window, then it gets messed up, because what I'm actually using in the vertical view is the and if you can see it, it's actually following your face to make sure that you're always centered. It's always centered. Yeah, and that was the challenge, is to make sure that the vertical format is centered all the time, and that's acceptable. Even though there's a bit of movement, it's such a narrow format that it's okay. So Mimo is doing a really good job here. The challenge, like I said, is when you get a David Paskin with his screen share through his eCam, and then you just don't know what to do with that format, because you don't have his camera separate from his presentation to be able to format them separately.
How many of your people are, entering in using, OBS or,
0.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
That's not those people. You can say, hey, listen, for when you want to be on this, give us a pure signal.
Exactly. That's the way to do it, and that's the way I intend to do it. It's like I said, it's specific to the David Paskins of the world who do that.
But that was pretty amazing. That is, Mimo does that well. It really does do the centering.
And do you know it really is cool, because it's doing 2 streams at the same time. Because these have to be 2 different streams to YouTube to do different YouTube. Mimo is doing an excellent job. I've got no complaints. I just couldn't figure out. Now that I've got the ISO feeds coming in over NDI, it's clean. This is just about right. I just need to tidy up the layouts and whatever lower thirds that we want to put on there. Otherwise, it's clean.
Yeah, I must admit, once you get your NDI working, that's the way to go. But everything works fine in my network at home. I even bring my own network out to location, and it goes south. And I think it's the networks that I'm hooking up to that give me challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So audio drift, John?
I keep losing NDI connection even on my own isolated network at a series of state parks. So they're doing something, because I technically am only getting the going in and out with theirs, and I have an isolated what is it?
VLAN?
VLAN?
Not VLAN, but it's Netgear, and my Netgear works perfectly at home, and out in the field it acts up.
Interesting. Hasmuth actually has a question for everybody on the panel. He's having problems with his Extreme ISO HDMI port. He now has a video output dead on HDMI. Is it fixable? I already semi know the answer is. I don't know of any Blackmagic repair shops in Canada. and I'm quite familiar with the distributor, and I don't know if they're repairing products in Canada. So if
My
that
answer
is
would be a
normal,
Mickey answer. It depends. If it's like a bad cold solder or something, maybe a competent electronics shop could fix it. If it's, on the motherboard or the circuit board, then probably not. Probably be cheaper to buy a new one.
yeah. And then Hasmuk actually asked us, he says, I'm also thinking of upgrading my ATEM. Should I settle for a ME2 or try, or yeah, I think that's try with the ME4. Again, the ME4 would depend on how many, again, MEs you need, would be my suggestion. But Hasmuth, if you do a lot of plugging and unplugging of ports, yes, HDMI has never been made to do that. So definitely going to the 2ME using SDI ports. There's a reason that the broadcast industry has been using SDI for years. And that's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So
And be
the
prepared-
other
and just
question though may
prepared to buy a
be
bunch of
try,
converters.
I was gonna say, try multiple plugs. Are you sure that the HDMI plug is bad? Because it could be
You mean
interaction
multiple
with the
cables?
cable.
Could be the cable, yeah.
And if you have a decimator, you can actually see what's happening on the various pins.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Mike. That was my reason for going to a 2ME. I couldn't, 4ME is a lot more complicated for a hobby to drag around.
Yeah, understood that. Understood that. Now, and again, too, you really got to, the 2ME, if you're already used to the extreme environment, having its 2MEs, then yes.
Yeah.
That would be an easy swap from you to go to an extreme to a 2ME. Now, if you want to get, and you're starting to run out of MEs on the extreme, then now that's why you got to now contemplate going to the 4ME. There's no real benefit unless you're going to benefit from using the additional 2MEs in the 4ME.
Well,
That's-
I mean, I can honestly say, embarrassing, but this is a hobby, as I keep saying. I only figured out probably about 6 months ago how I would even use the second ME on a 2ME device. Right? I can actually send separate video routes in two different directions, so to speak. Right. But I would warn Hasmuth, the one thing I should have known better when I converted from an A10 Mini Extreme to my 2ME is be prepared to invest in a couple of handfuls of converters.
Yep. Yeah, basically, yeah. So Hasmuth, yes. So the difference will be is that now you're in the SDI world, you're not in the HDMI world. So should you have that laptop that needs to be plugged in HDMI, should you need that, insert here that needs to be plugged in via HDMI, you're not in the HDMI consumer world anymore. You're now in the professional SDI world, and it needs to be done accordingly, like SDI based cameras, SDI based, equipment. So yes, you are going from, the consumer and prosumer world into the professional world with the SDI world. But yes, it will be a lot more less painful on repairs because the SDI cables themselves can handle more abuse, and the ports themselves as well can handle a lot more abuse, where HDMI cables can easily, if that connector gets bent and in one input or output, the male or female end gets bent in one way or another.
Not to mention that they can get pulled out.
Yes.
Yes. And that is the other great feature of SDI too, Hasmuth, is that if you've never played with SDI, when you push and turn, it locks. So if you try to, you're going to be pulling the actual video switcher along with it. In this case. And of course, I would definitely tell you to rack mount the 2ME 100% into a rack case. So that'll also make your life a lot easier too than having an extreme that you might have had to put on a shelf because that was the only way you could actually put it into a rack.
Yeah. I would also say the other thing is the actual plug itself, the SDI plug itself, not the cable end, but the piece on the switcher. Have you ever looked how they're installed? It's a bolt through system. So there's a nut sitting around the case outside part of that casing. That is not going anywhere. Whereas you can damage an HDMI plug because it can move around inside that ATEM Extreme case on the inside. If you push too hard, you will damage it.
Yeah. Yeah. All good points, Pete. Not wrong at all with that. And actually, Ronnie's got a question, and this is for Mr. Idelson. If you're still there, John. John, do you use NDI Discovery Server in your setup? That is actually a very good question. It is supposed to assist you to keep track of all the NDI feeds on the network more consistently than without it. And Ronnie is absolutely 100% correct. And I'll let John finish his little
And
snack
yes, I
having.
do. I
you
use
do.
NDI tools regularly. And actually, I use that to be able to monitor things around the house now and monitor some of our sites. So NDI tool, NDI bridge is just great fun.
Right. But what he's talking about is NDI. It's going in next level. This is called NDI Discovery Server. And what the Discovery Server is, it actually is a server that sits on the network as well. And that should be, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure it's, Robert, do you have NDI, Netgear? I'm trying to think if the actual NDI Discovery Server is on the Netgear switch or not. Do they
I don't
have
know.
that?
I don't use it. I use all of the services available like John does.
Yeah, because again, the NDI Discovery Server, what it does is it takes the acknowledgement of NDI signals on the network and it makes it a lot more loyal and available longer than Bonjour does, because NDI by default uses Bonjour. When you turn on an NDI feed, it broadcasts itself, but Bonjour will eventually time out.
Yep.
So if you didn't get to it quick enough, this is where NDI Discovery Server goes, oh, I'm constantly looking for these bonjours, and now I know where it is. And I'll now remember where it is. And I'm going to be the God server on the network now, that should anybody ask for anything NDI, it knows to get a hold of me because I know where it is, not just the bonjour advertisement. And hopefully you grab onto it when you can.
So that's following what Robert says. I know Oliver uses Discovery Server, but I don't in my location.
Yeah. And that was from Rodney. And that is definitely a suggestion again, it really depends on how many NDI sources you have, of course, would be where you would run the NDI Discovery Server. And that also should, as long as you're running a properly set up VLAN, that should actually help in reducing, if not eliminating, what Peter was bringing up before, which is audio drift, which NDI is infamous for doing so. Oh, and Rodney's saying, Hasmuth, we have the same happening to our extremes. No way to fix it. Uh-oh. Coming from Rodney, no way to fix it. All right. I think you would be satisfied with a 2ME and maybe a 40 by 40 router to be even more flexible. Okay, so this is going back to what Frank was talking about earlier when we're only talking about 20 ports, and you never know. See, even Rodney's saying, you need 40 ports. Hasma, do it. So then you got a lot of ports and you never have to then worry. But that's kind of funny. Yeah, Robert liked that one. Because again, we're only talking about the 20 ports, the 20 port video hub when we're talking about Adam Tao and his new product effect router. Got to remember. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not mix effect, but effect router.
Yeah.
So he's going the opposite way with that.
And then, Mike, just to add icing to the cake, you get frustrated like I did of hooking up my 6K Pro to a 2ME. So what did I do? I sold my 6K Pro and bought the 6K Pixis.
Okay.
What is that?
Yeah.
Blackmagic Pixis camera.
Oh, is that? Oh, you really like? You do have a hobby, don't you, Pete? That's the new one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty then. Everybody knows Peter's budget. Okay. All right. So next week on Zoom Test Kitchen, Peter will be showing. No, I'm kidding. About showing off the
But
Pixels.
the nice thing about going from the 6K Pro to the 6K Pixis, it's technically the 6K Pixis EF, is it uses the same glass. So the 6K Pro was a Canon mount, Canon EF mount, and the Pixis 6K EF is a EF mount. So if I were to point to what's the most expensive part of my setup, it's not the camera. Trust me. It's the glass.
Yeah, the lens that you got on it. But again, and that is something that is very underestimated, is that if you don't have good glass,
well, I've got
sensor doesn't matter at that point.
I've got good Canon lenses, so I'm, so
yeah. And I know that the Canon lenses, even if they're even close to even being close to the same ones that are used for photography, I know that they in themselves are an ATEM. An ATEM extreme without any problems.
they are, Canon glass is good glass. Right.
Yeah. Especially, and again, my comment was I know a friend of mine that was, and this was about 15 years ago. He was really into the Canon SLRs, and he had all kinds of different Canon lenses because he was a real photo buff, and he was getting into those, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, this one's 1,200, this one's 1,300, this one's 900." And I'm going, it was more than the body was only $1,000, but yet the lens was $1,000. So
that's photography equipment.
Is too. And now, so again, Peter, so would an SLR, that would be the same mount, would it? So you could actually use...
So Canon has in the last 3 years, Robert, do you think they've gone to their new, because they went to mirrorless cameras, they went to a new mount, but the EF mount's been around for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
The EF mount.
I can't answer that question. I use Panasonic cameras.
But you can find EF mount lenses out there, and I've just got 3, but each one of them is probably the cost of the camera itself, the camera body itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That Pete, I totally believe.
But it has SDI out. That's why I liked it.
So that's the moral of the story. Okay, so it's SDI out.
I got sick and tired of having a little tiny HDMI cable running to a converter that would run to my 2ME because it invariably pulled out. Right, the little HDMI cable invariably came loose.
Mm-hmm. Not only depending on where you had it, Pete, too. If you had it either coming right out of the camera, then you actually have the SDI to HDMI hanging. Of course, it's now putting more strain on the actual HDMI.
I never hung it. I bolted it. I mean, I had a cage and I bolted it to the cage.
Right.
But Peter, I have to compliment you. You have managed to make your video equipment be as expensive as having a boat.
Yes. However, I don't have to clean it every weekend.
Well, the 2 happiest days for a boater is the day they bought it and
the day they sell it. Yes.
Too funny, guys. Too funny. Oh, I'm just checking to see if there's any other comments from YouTube. Nothing as of yet. Frank, anything new and exciting? You've been awful quiet on us today.
Nope, nothing new and exciting.
I just
Frank,
thought
I do have a question for you.
Imitation.
Yeah, Frank, is your university embracing Chat GTP?
That's a broad question. It depends who you talk to. I think what we're telling people is it's not going away. Here's how you can use it ethically. here's how you can design your pedagogy around it. But if you talk to specific instructors, they may have their own set of beliefs around that. It's contentious for sure.
Well, for us, the CSU system just implemented ChatGTP 4.0 for everyone. If you have a university email, you get it. And Mavis has expanded that. So if you have a university email, you've got both ChatGTP and Mavis. So the faculty are in a different level, but our students are, and not all students, but it's interesting. It's a little bit like DEC Computer did back when they first were putting little computers out. Now, all the students are having Mavis and ChatGTP 4, so the faculty may be able to make policies and rules, but they're going to have to run with the herd.
There's a lot of talk about authentic assessment and more demonstration of knowledge and tracking your progress and demonstrating your work as you go.
John, are they offering...
Go ahead, Lois.
John, are they offering training for the faculties to bring them up to speed?
Oh, they've been doing that from the very beginning. There's been multiple seminars. Yes, there's a lot of training. And it came out of a group of faculty who made a policy about AI. And then immediately, well, not immediately, 3 months later said, do not follow our policy. We were clueless as to what was happening. So, and that started a big discussion. So yeah, there's a lot of, at all levels, because universities are involved in teaching and learning and dealing with students, but also research universities, and not only doing their own research on just AI, but using AI in their research. So there's been a lot of discussions, particularly part of the reason of the CSU system was going for everyone is that it's a resource, and we don't want to have people not have access to it, so they could begin to learn both the good and the bad with all the technology.
I have started using rabbithole.com as a genealogy tool. It's fascinating. Y'all familiar with Rabbit Hole? It's a place where for free you can start 3 rabbit holes a day, and if you get above that, then you need to pay. And what it is you ask a question and it will reply, and it will tell you how many sources it looked at to give you the reply, and then it will give you 3 suggested further questions, or you can ask your own further question, and you can just add a new thing, and it just keeps going. It's like building this just giant tree of logic as you follow it on and on and on. So it's been very interesting.
Very cool. Lois, do you know the website? I've got one that says, is it
Rabbit Hole? Rabbithole.com.
Rabbithole.com. Okay.
I think I have it up. Did you find it, Mike?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look. For some reason, I'm getting, it goes to a lander page and then it's just showing me white. So I don't know. Maybe it's not available in Canada.
Let me get my, okay. Maybe I spelled it wrong or something.
I did find a rabbit.tech. I don't know if that is it.
No, rabbithole.com. And what? That's wrong. That's wrong, because that's giving me an advertisement to buy it. That's not what I want. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
Perfect. Cool. And then I'll let everybody know.
Rabbithole.chat.
.chat. All right.
Yeah, not .com at all. .chat. And what you come up with is a black screen and a little rabbit, and it says start your rabbit hole. And the place to type in what you want to find out about. And I put in my grandfather's birth year, as far as I knew it, and where he was from, as far as I knew it, which is Trier, which at that time, when 1830 was in Prussia. And I said, how do I find birth records for this person? And I don't know his parents. I don't know, you know. And so it was very interesting, and it led me through how to contact people and all sorts of stuff. It was fascinating.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, so Rabbit Hole Free is 3 searches per day, like Lois was saying. And that actually uses, by the looks of it, it's using Google's Gemini 1.5 Flash AI LLM. And also there's the Rabbit Hole Pro, which again, Lois was talking about as well. That they want $60 US per year for that.
Yeah, and that's pretty cheap for a good genealogical assistant, which is, of course, what I'm interested in for. Yeah.
Yeah. Rabbit Hole allows you to ask any question that you're curious about and have multi-threaded conversations to either learn more or to completely fall down a new avenue of exploration. Ooh, ah.
Yeah, when I started getting into this, Trier, it turns out Trier is the name of the town that he was born in. And some of my other cousins had it as Friar, Frier. So okay, tell me the history of it. And it got into, and the German empire didn't start until 1871. So everything before that was something else. And it was in here, and it was there, and it was in this. And it's like, it's amazing what you can find out just by following little threads like that.
And Lois went down the rabbit hole.
I
literally
did, and I had a real good time too.
Yeah, and I usually say I can do that on Google, but this is taking it. This is Google search on steroids. By the looks of it.
I like the way they organize things, and at any point you can go back and see where you started, because it keeps track of your rabbit hole and shows you everything. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Cute.
So, of course, I used up my 3 almost instantly, so I think I'm going to have to subscribe.
You enjoyed it so much.
I did. And since I can save this work, I can then go and talk about a different ancestor and start a different rabbit hole, track down something else. So, yeah, I think I'm going to use this a lot.
Yeah. Frank, I was going to ask you, when it came to Zoom AI Companion, are you allowing students to use such yet or no?
In a limited fashion. In Zoom, as an admin, you can have something unlocked but in the off position.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, the host of the meeting gets to decide if AI is going to happen during the meeting or not. And we leave it up to the instructors to decide that. We don't have every option turned on at this time. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Right. And again, that is something that you've worked out with, the faculty, Frank, I would assume.
Not so much the faculty. We have bodies that safeguard privacy. We have other bodies that safeguard security for technologies. And you have to, before you make any kind of major move with any kind of technology, you have to go through them, and they do assessments and things of that nature.
Right. So you're basically allowing what they've allowed you to allow.
Yeah.
I think I did that right.
I was reading in the last week about third-party meeting bots. So, you have a Zoom meeting, and you might get one of these companies sends a bot to your meeting because somebody that you invited the meeting to has a bot, and a lot of schools, big schools, Ivy League schools, are disallowing third-party bots and only allowing the bots that their campus has verified and passed all the privacy and security. So it's a big contentious issue as well.
Very cool. Very cool. So has there been sort of a meeting of the minds when it comes to all the different universities of certain?
No.
No, everybody's still very independent that way.
Well, most universities are autonomous and independent of each other. But I mean, as if you want to look at it as an industry, which probably isn't the right way to look at it, but
Right.
there are best practices that what the community does influences each other, and there's sort of a herd mentality, but not everywhere. It just depends.
Right.
Without disparaging administrators often have similar and common viewpoints.
Right. Okay. All right. So again, if anybody on YouTube has any questions for anybody on the panel, by all means, let us know in YouTube chat.
Have you had anyone here had experience with third-party meeting bots showing up in their meetings and not being happy about it?
Interesting. I had one when I was in one of my meetings. They were actually using this was the one that takes meetings. So they didn't realize that I had already AI companion turned on that they could access. So they decided to have I'm trying to remember that one, Frank. It's one of the original ones that would go into meetings.
Oh, there's lots of them, but yeah. Read
But
AI or Firefly or
yeah, it was one of the original. It definitely is a featured one in the marketplace. So when I took a quick look for it after the meeting, I went, "Oh yeah, okay." And I remember that we actually, way back in the day, I actually talked about it on the Zoom Test Kitchen. This certain one actually going into meetings, but yeah, not a lot. People have actually been enjoying my AI companion summaries.
Right.
Understanding that there's going to be mistakes, and they've been okay with that.
So in your personal Zoom account settings, there's a section where you can block certain domains from joining your meetings. If you can, there's some lists floating around on the internet of the domains that these services join from. You can block those domains. Or as a Zoom administrator, you can contact Zoom and say, I want these domains blocked, and they'll block them. But there are maybe legitimate uses for accessibility or something. But on the other hand, if I was an instructor and I had 100 people in my course and 75 of them showed up with bots and they weren't there, just their bots were there taking notes, I might not be very enthralled with that concept that you've sent a bot to summarize my lecture and you didn't bother attending. So, there's ramifications, privacy, security, ethical. There's a lot to consider, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like that these bot lists are very similar to the equivalent of, I know that there are a lot of DNS lists out there that you could actually get that have a lot of the, spammer domain names and such on it. So it sounds like it's a similar list to that. Frank, am I wrong?
Well, it's just, you can, people have figured out, like, if a certain company is sending its bot from a certain domain or whatever, or IP address, you can start to track that. And you can say, you're talking of rabbits, you're chasing a rabbit because they'll probably just issue new IP addresses as they get blocked. But, you do the best you can, right?
Yeah.
I do have to laugh at the more the things change, the more they stay the same. One of my favorite cartoons I used in some of my lectures was that had a reel-to-reel tape recorder at the podium, and all the students' chairs had recorders, and there was nobody there. That dates me back to the 60s, but I still have that cartoon.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. And so very true. So very true. So block domain. Yeah. So bot list domains. Yeah.
I call them bots, but I mean, third-party meeting attendants, I don't know, whatever vernacular you want to call them.
Sure. And again, too, this actually could be interesting too. Should you want to make sure that, if there's any of the marketplace apps in specific too, if we had a, if that list could be expanded to the marketplace apps, and you want to lock them down as well, then that could be potentially there too.
I should say one clarification or amendment. This isn't just happening to Zoom. It's happening to Teams, to Google. They attach themselves to your calendar, and then they attend all the things in your calendar that have, online meeting components, right?
Right.
What does a bot do in your meeting, and whose bot is it? I mean,
it's very similar to what Zoom already provides us, which is AI companion meeting summaries. So it may show up and record everything that's said in the meeting and then send you a summary, which may be great for you personally if you don't want to attend meetings, but it's a real problem if your corporation or your group has privacy concerns. Where is this information ending up? What are they doing with the information once they have it? Did all the people in the meeting get a chance to object to this third-party company gathering a summary of everything everybody said? And what about their privacy? There's so many ethical and legal and moral implications, right?
do they listen in, or do they videographically, whatever that word is, record it?
Have you ever seen a meeting summary from Zoom?
Yeah.
It's very much like that. It's a
But they're
text-based.
just listening to the audio.
They listen. Yeah, I think some of them may be able to do recordings, but I think the primary thing they're doing is taking notes. Then they summarize it, but on the server, they have every single word that was spoken. They may not send you every word back in the summary, but they have every syllable that was uttered. What are they doing with this information? Are they selling it? Are they using it to do advertising? I'm sure there's lots of ethical reasons, but I'm just saying there's also potential for misuse, and corporations, groups, institutions have to consider both sides of, allowing people to have new technology and ways to do things, but also safeguarding people's privacy and make sure it's being used responsibly and ethically, right?
Right. So if I had a meeting and I required people to register for the meeting, would the bot register as a person and get in?
Did he actually show up as a person?
Yeah. So if it's usually they come in through your calendar. So if it knows your credentials because you've allowed it to, and quite often I think these companies trick people, but it can attend as you, but it may have like a special prefix or suffix to the name. A waiting room is a good way to start to protect yourself if you don't want these things. There's a way in Zoom to have a CAPTCHA. I'm sure at some point they'll figure out how to get past that security block. Having a waiting, you can have a waiting room, and you can just deny, just the way you think someone's a Zoom bomber. You could say, I don't recognize that as being a valid human that I know. I'm not letting you in. You could do pre-registration. You could have passcodes. There's many things you could do, but I mean, in any kind of technology situation like this, it's going to be sort of like mutually assured destruction in the 60s. Each side is going to make some progress, and then the other side is going to catch up, right?
Right. So it's my understanding that if I require registration and more than one person uses that registration to get in, either the second one is blocked or the first one is kicked out, or something like that. Do you know how
Generally speaking, when people send these meeting summary bots to your meeting, it means they're not coming. They don't intend on coming to the meeting, but they want to know what happened. So there'll only be one login.
And that would be reasonable for someone to do in a class, but probably
I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. I don't think it. I think
No,
an instructor.
it's more likely to happen at
Oh,
your
it's
place than at my place. Because if I'm having a meeting, it's either you're there or you're not there. It's not a class. kind of situation.
It's happening increasingly to anyone who puts things in their calendar and doesn't realize that they're giving permission to these bots to be in their calendar. So it doesn't necessarily target education. It could target any kind of meeting where someone's putting calendar invitations into a calendar for online meetings.
And so the calendar that it's coming from, is that, in your case, would that be the student's calendar or the teacher's calendar?
It could be anybody's calendar. It could be an outside guest's calendar. What happens is it through the APIs, it goes through the server, it figures out everyone's email addresses, and then it offers the meeting summary to everybody who is at the meeting through email, and then it says, if you want to see this summary, click here, and basically by clicking here, you're agreeing to let it to join your calendar. In very many ways, it meets the definition of a virus, to my way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. The other thing, if you happen to, you also need to pay attention, because you can stop it by Read AI is a classic one. You can stop it by turning off recording, by turning off its ability to record. Because it actually asks you permission to record the meeting. And if you don't grant it permission, it won't do anything.
A lot of people aren't very sophisticated at using Zoom. They know how to attend the meeting or maybe host the meeting a little bit, but the people who come to the Zoom Test Kitchen are obviously very interested in how Zoom works, but a lot of people use it on a very low level and, oh, sure, yeah, whatever, and they don't even realize what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd almost have to unassociate yourself with the bot that you've already added and make sure that the bot as an app in the marketplace, and Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, and make sure that that app then no longer, you'd have to go through a lot more hoops to get rid of the bot as compared
It's not,
to
they're not coming from the marketplace necessarily. They're calendar extensions for Microsoft Office Calendar, Google Office Calendar, different kinds of calendars. So they're attaching themselves to your calendar and then reading your calendar, getting the credentials and the meeting IDs, and then joining that way.
Right. Okay. I get it now. Yeah. So
you have to basically revoke its privileges in the calendar. And I've had people who have no idea how to do that, and it's pretty common for people not to know how to do that.
Yeah, where they've just said, yeah, just let me, when they're going through that process, just click.
Sure, I want to read that. And when they click on the hyperlink, they're also making some kind of an agreement to install it, right?
And they're more worried about reading it than going, yeah, whatever. Just let me do it.
I'm sure there's some ethical companies out there. I'm not going to tarnish all of them, but some of them seem to make it pretty obscure what you're agreeing to and how to get rid of it if you don't want it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people who don't even know that they accidentally started a calendar, like me, and I didn't put anything in it intentionally, but it exists, and every once in a while, I'll get a comment or a request or a something, and it'll say it's from Google Calendar. What the heck? I went and looked at it. Yeah, I got a calendar, all right. There's nothing on it, but it's there.
Yeah, Lois, if you are using the Google system, there are ways to, when you go into your actual account, to see what shall we call it, apps. I'll use that term loosely.
What services you are using from them? Yeah.
Yeah, and which ones you've given permissions to. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just, it was a surprise when I found out that there was a Google Calendar, because I hadn't noticed. I obviously had said, sure, put that on a calendar. What calendar? I don't have a calendar, forget that. And it did it. So anyway, I think people have a lot more happening in their lives than they know they do.
That can be the case at times. Absolutely.
Well, it's good to see you all, and I'm off. I see you next week. Bye-bye.
Ciao, Lois. Take care. All right. So Peter, Frank, John, everybody on YouTube, it seems to be fairly quiet. Is there any other topics we want to talk about before we wrap this up? Pete, what are you buying this week? I'm kidding. So how many cameras do you have? Are you buying more than one?
Well, I have 2 PTZ cameras downstairs too.
Right.
2
along with that unit.
Yeah, 2 Bird Dog P100s.
And you're using the SDI out of those.
Unless I'm going long haul, in which case I use the Ethernet. Because they're NDI capable cameras as well.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that is full frame NDI, unless you're using their NDI HX models. I used to say that all the time because Bird Dog used to be only for full frame NDI, but now they've
updated their firmware.
Yeah, and they've now included NDI HX as well.
Right.
All right.
I think the only thing I'm buying this week is going to the grocery store.
Yes. Yes. That's a very good point. Yes. And hopefully it's not an expensive grocery outing for you.
Yeah, no, it's easy going. Just me and my dog. It's just me and my dog. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So
maybe
on that
last call.
Last call. That's it. It's time to wrap this thing up.
Kitchen's closing.
Yeah, the kitchen's closing. I would say it's last call, but that's the bar. That's not the actual kitchen. So we'll save the last
Service
call.
is over.
Yeah, that's right. So we're not taking any more orders at the kitchen window.
Closed for the evening.
I already turned off the deeper.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the fryer's all been shut off and all the grease hopefully has been taken out. But yet, if you watch Bar Rescue, probably not. And if anybody is a Bar Rescue fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, let's hear our closing theme for today in deep house mode.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks, we'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with these. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech,
All right. On that note, thanks everyone for joining us and watching us this week on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know how much you like our content. And that also lets Zoom know how much our content is important to the Zoom community. Don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And once again, from everybody on the panel this week, see everyone next week for another edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen.